Oh, good evening and welcome all you Stunthanger fans. This is Rusty and here to hang out with you until about midnight or maybe later. It's a Monday night, so we'll uh, probably keep it a little shorter than we do some Friday nights. But anyway, we're here to talk about aeromodeling, and I've got the chat box open, but I have not yet posted the link because I wanted to at least start my intro before live guests started popping in with me. So, with that said, the links are posted in the usual places on the main stunthanger.com control line forums page where the open forum is, only not in the open forum. Scroll down below that and look for the live streams section, and there's a thread in there called At the Bench. The post with tonight's links for the show in it or in the top newest, will be in the top newest post in just a minute, and it'll have today's date in the title. And so we will talk about aeromodeling and anything related to that. Control lines are specialty, but control lines are favorite for most of the visitors. But we'll talk about remote control. Heck, we'll talk about planes, trains, and automobiles, big stuff, little stuff, whatever you like to work on with screwdrivers in your shop. Just keep it family friendly. And if you prefer to watch without a camera and a microphone, you can go to the Stunt Hanger channel on YouTube and watch the live screen there. And then there is a chat box that you can use to text chat to us, and I'll try to uh, cross over and include your conversations with ours if you're commenting on something that pertains to what we're talking about, and or if you've got questions, answers, advice, opinions, or whatever, feel free to post it. And there is also a super chat box. You can click at the bottom of the chat box, and that's a block dollar sign looking icon, and that's how you send us a little donation if you feel so inclined. And we appreciate that because it lets Sparky pay for the server fees and all the things that it keeps to take Stunt Hanger going and free, and pays for his equipment to broadcast from all the events that so far this spring aren't happening, but if they were, he'd be there broadcasting live and making movies, and hopefully that'll come back in time for the summer season. And everybody hope for that. And while it's not happening, this is a place where you can come and hang out, and no news is good news. So anyway, we'll get started, and if you'll give me about 10 seconds, the link will pop up on Stunt Hanger in the At the Bench thread, and it's on the way. I just set the pigeon free, and there it is. Okay, so you can click that top link under where it says join the meeting and pop right in. All of those other links, I'm not sure. They're for other things besides computers and tablets. So anyway, click that link, come on in, join us, and I'm sitting here waiting for anybody to talk to. And I've also got the chat box popped out on my little notebook tonight. So my name on the chat box, let me stop the thread from playing there, just eating up double bandwidth. Um, I'll be known as Rusty on the chat box tonight instead of Stunt Hanger. That way, when Sparky comes in, his name's Stunt Hanger and my name is usually Stunt Hanger, so it gets confusing. I am now officially known as Rusty on the chat box. So Tom Rammel joined us. You're our first video visitor tonight. Mr. Rammel, how you doing?
Hi, Rusty. I'm doing well.
Good. Everybody healthy? All your friends, family, neighbors? Everybody,
Yes,
nobody's
we're all
got the
doing well. We're all sheltering in place.
well. It's leveled off where I am. I don't want to say significantly, but it is showing clear signs of flattening. And so I'll call that a good thing for today, but it's a day by day thing. And if everybody got excited and stopped what we're doing, the social isolation, that is, then it would probably spike again. So we have just got to be patient. And oh, you've got your little display going again.
I did a control line flyer.
That's cool. How did you make that picture?
This is done in pixels, so you just do a bitmap with pixels.
That's right. It's the laser. You just program the laser, right?
And it's this thing spins. It's only got 54 LEDs on this one semicircle here.
Yeah.
But I think there's like 8,512 LED positions around the globe. So
what about the LED colors? Are they all the same, or do you have different wavelengths?
On this one, they're all red.
Are they?
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool little machine. I like that.
That's been kind of a fun project.
Yeah. Yeah, something to tinker with when school's not in session. And
I did work on my TD 049 and got it cleaned up, and I was hoping to run it today, but it was cold and windy out, so I didn't fire it up. But this is one that I bought when I was in high school, and so it's the pressure port is drilled into the crankcase, so it has
it's got timed pressure.
It has timed pressure, right?
What you gonna do about that? You're gonna try to plug it somehow? You probably plug it with JB wells.
I've always used it in the past.
Oh, really?
I haven't run this engine in a long time. I'm just cleaning it up, getting it ready to run again. But
did you apply the pressure or to the fuel tank, or did you just let it blow out?
No,
how did that work for you?
I connected it to the fuel tank, and it worked well back then.
Okay.
I'll have to see if it'll still work.
I've heard people say bad things about it, but I've never tried it, so I can't say. I don't have an opinion of it of my own. Hey, Denny, I saw Gary out there for a second, and then he disappeared, and then he popped in.
Hiya.
Hiya. How you doing today?
Real good, real good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. I guess real good would do, because I'm not sick and I'm walking around and feel pretty good. So we'll call that real good.
That's it.
Had a good weekend.
Any day you wake up above ground is a good start, right? So
that's a good start. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Hello, Tom.
Hi, Denny.
Looks like you got a new toy in the background there.
I got some of the graphics started on the Skylark.
Okay, this is the Skylark you were working on last fall, was it?
Right.
Okay.
So I did the. Oops.
Oh man, that looks great.
So at least I got a start on it. Not sure, maybe do a little more to it yet, but yeah, it's coming along.
That's great. Have you able to get out flying yet?
No, today we had 50-mile-an-hour wind.
Today. Yeah.
Terrible.
Got a lot. We haven't had that much, but we had a bunch of wind today too.
Did you
tomorrow
say 50?
we're gonna set a new record for low tomorrow night. And it's back up to 60 again on Wednesday, so I don't know what's going on. These are strange times.
We're supposed to get up to 60 on Wednesday also.
Yeah, yeah.
That'll be nice. We haven't had much warm weather yet in Minnesota.
No, neither we. We haven't had anything sustained. So, Yeah, it was funny. Like I say, I mentioned last Friday, we got snow last Friday, and then Sunday I was out mowing the lawn. It's just goofy stuff. So snow blowing and then mowing. So
I wonder.
Yeah, what a difference in the day. One
yeah,
day mowing the lawn, the next day blowing the snow. That's just
that's
kind of
it. That's just
that's just
craziness.
wrong.
Yeah, probably the nicest thing going on right now is that we have got some bluebirds hanging out. So and
Really,
I get a kick out of seeing those.
I like them. Yeah, we got a couple of bluebird houses up, but we haven't cleaned them out lately for this season. And maybe they'd come nest if we clean them out. But they're getting a
Yeah,
little decrepit, so I'm not sure they're good enough to
no,
invite
they're
in
looking
guests.
for the high rent
To.
neighborhood, huh? So
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if we should invite guests to those old beat up houses. And here comes Gary Sinclair.
all righty.
Yeah.
Gary.
All right. I started first, and then it just got your
Yeah.
sound, and then it went blank, so I had to reboot.
Yeah, I waved at you, and then Denny popped into your picture. I thought, oh no, Denny's attacked Gary
That's
and taken
it.
him out.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm assuming new identities and everything like that. Tom, you
Did
were
you
holding
go
up an
back and
engine a
watch the
minute ago.
rerun? Did
Well,
you go back and watch the rerun when we sung "Happy Birthday" to you the other night?
Ha
No, I
ha ha
didn't.
ha ha ha.
I was going to. I didn't get to
All
yet.
right.
this is a TD-049 that I bought when I was in high school, and
Wow.
it's drilled out. I drilled it out for crankcase pressure, for timed crankcase pressure, and had that feeding into the fuel tank. But I just cleaned it up and wanted to try it out, run it again. It hasn't been run in several years,
Mm-hmm.
but it was too windy and cold today, so maybe
All
this
right.
week I'll get a chance to try it out again.
Mm-hmm.
But we were talking about Uniflow tanks on Friday, and I got to thinking about most of the RC stuff I have muffler pressure going into the fuel tank, and
Mm-hmm.
on this 049 I had timed crankcase pressure going into the fuel tank,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm just wondering if anybody else has had experience with that kind of pressurized fuel system.
Well, I was using on my RC planes. I was using a Uniflow system with just muffler pressure, and the only issue I ever had with it is that sometimes you're at high throttle, pumping a lot of pumping a lot into the tank, and then when you go to idle, the tank has extra pressure in it, and it'll kind of back feed. It'll actually feed fuel up the pressure line into the muffler, which just means you get a blast of raw fuel on the airplane and stuff like that. And that was only really happened on tanks if I had a really soft tank or one that was really big that had a lot of room for expansion in it. Then it was more severe. But if I had a fairly small, like a 6 ounce or smaller tank, it didn't seem to have much of an issue then. Or any of
What I
the
always
round
did
tanks
is,
are stiffer than the square tanks, things like that. So yeah.
instead of, I didn't know about Uniflow back then. I just learned
Mhm.
about it Friday. So, but I always ran the pressure to the tube that went to the top of the tank, so then fuel couldn't be forced back into the muffler.
Yeah. Well, run it to the Uniflow line, your crankcase pressure to the Uniflow line, and all the good things happen there too. Because even with a pressurized system, the engine will it'll trend to try to speed up during the run. And if it runs through the Uniflow line, it'll run dead steady right till the end. We used to use
Yeah.
those in our rat racers, Uniflow tanks with with pressure, crankcase pressure, and it worked fabulously there.
Okay.
I think we got an
The
amen from
only
Rusty
kind of
on that too. So
the only kind of pressure I've ever run on a half A is bladder pressure. I've never done backplate. I've got an MP jet that's drilled out for backplate pressure, but it's hard to crank and kind of the engine's never been broke in, and I kind of gave up trying to get a good run on it. But bladder is all I do with half A, and it just because the way I fly is just zip, 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 zip. Punching smoking holes in the sky with a half A, and that way with the bladder pressure, it's always steady and it never coughs out and the tops of loops. But I've never tried it with in combination with suction like you're talking about. And the difference between backplate pressure and timed pressure is different too. And most people on the Cox engine forums run backplate pressure, which is crankcase pressure, and talk badly about timed pressure. So, and I just don't have an opinion on the timed pressure. So, but I mean, you say you've been running it since you were buying those engines as a kid and having good luck with it. So, you know, I, I can't argue with that. But with the big stunt ships, I either run open uniflow vent or muffler pressure, one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
I like muffler pressure, but you got to make sure you've got enough room in your tank, a buffer of air between the fuel and the tank tank full point, because if the tank's lipping full, then um, there's not enough air to compress. And so as air accumulates in there, it starts compressing the air and the engine leans out because it doesn't push as much fuel in. So you get it needle right for a full tank up to the brim and it'll run okay at that pressure. But the pressure changes when the fuel drops, because fuel is not compressible, but air is. And so if you're going to run muffler pressure, you need to have, I like to say an extra ounce of air in the tank, but I don't know what the cutoff is between what really
Yeah.
is best and not. But I did learn that because I kept having one that was changing its engine speed suddenly after I had flown partway through the pattern and the fuel dropped, and realized I learned it on this show. Actually, I think somebody on here told me that's what was happening, and I looked into it and found other people that agreed. And then I realized, yeah, air compresses, but the fluid, the oil, and the alcohol do not compress, and so when the level drops, the compression in the tank changes. Does that make sense?
I don't know. I never worried about that extra air in the tank or anything like that, so I don't have any direct experience of that. But I always thought the Uniflow tanks just ran great, and always tried squeezing
Yeah.
every little bit of fuel I could into it. But I don't know. Could it change? I suppose. I've never heard of that as a problem, and until you
Yeah,
just
but
mentioned
you
it. So,
probably, you and most people probably have a tank that holds enough fuel plus a little extra room in it. With that, I'm talking. I've got on my twister. This is where I had the problem: is I couldn't fly a full pattern unless I filled it until the overflow was dribbling out,
mm-hmm.
and so then I would hook everything up and fly, and that's where I had that problem, and I was told it was because the pressurization changes when you use up some of the fuel, and now you're compressing air where you were just compressing that hard, uncompressible fuel head when you first started the flight.
Okay.
I looked on the Cox forum, and I couldn't really find anybody that used timed pressure on an 049. It's like
Hardly
that
anybody over there
everybody
does.
uses the back plate or a bladder.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. I think it would work fine. I never actually used
Yeah,
time pressure, and I know
yeah,
that
just do it.
the
They didn't put that vent there for nothing. Just do it
yeah.
and form your own opinion and come tell us what works.
Yeah,
The only thing
the
I'd worry about with the
I keep
TD is that molded plastic nipple on it, and it was really slippery. I don't know how you'd keep a fuel line on it, but
yeah, I used to use just a piece of wire twisted around it.
Okay, and that was enough to hold it on.
Yeah, that would
Okay.
hold it on.
Okay.
But that port is not drilled into the
Right.
where the crankshaft is. You have to drill it. And
Mhm.
I did that when I was in high school, so mine's drilled. But
Mhm.
I think most people probably just don't bother with drilling it and the hassle of it.
Have you ever seen the instructions for drilling it?
Yeah,
I can't remember exactly what they say, but I think they tell you to turn it so that the intake port is open under the point at which you're drilling. Use the nipple as guide, and then drill it through, and then turn the prop back and forth to clear the swarf out.
crazy.
I don't think that's the way I would do it.
I know they tell you that, but I can't imagine that actually would work without doing some damage.
I can't
Nah,
imagine the cop actually wrote that.
I can't imagine that either. But yeah, well.
I'm fiddling around here with I got my notebook out here so that I can put the chat box on separate from the computer. I'm told that this video works better if I don't use the built-in chat box, and so I've got the
Mhm.
chat box over here with a Bluetooth keyboard, and so we're gonna see how that works. I'm also named Rusty because I signed in under my own account to the chat box.
I
Mhm.
do know if you did it the way they tell you in the instructions, you'd want to make sure that bird wasn't in the engine before you ran it. You'd want to make sure that was
Yeah,
out.
I don't
To
know.
do a
I
lot
would
yeah.
of
be.
I'm
I
sure
would
it would.
be.
Yeah, I'm sure the piston would grind it up to mush, but I don't want to do that either.
I don't know. I would be. I think I would take the plastic piece off the front before I was going to drill it. But yeah,
Well,
well.
yeah, maybe use it as a guide to put just a little bump in the aluminum so you know where to drill, and then take it off and drill it. And I don't remember the size, but it's pretty small.
Mhm.
I think I
Yeah.
took the crankshaft out and then drilled mine and then deburred it before I
Oh,
put the crank back in.
it's the way any decent mechanic would do it. We're all
Yeah.
decent
Don't.
mechanics here.
Yeah. You don't let the burr go flying through the engine and take it on faith it's going to go
No,
out without hitting anything important. I don't
no,
like the. I don't like the odds. So.
No.
Oh well. Yeah,
What you
I've
got
got.
for supper, Mike?
Chicken and dumplings.
Oh man, that's so good.
Yeah, a second. Got something you guys might like here.
My wife decided to cook today. So
Really? Wow, what a
slow
treat.
cooker, chicken and dumplings. Yeah.
Ollie makes chicken and dumplings and uses Bisquick or Jiffy Mix to make the dumplings, and they're big old bready balls instead of the flat kind that I've seen on the cooking channel and all. But I don't know if that's how they're supposed to be or not, but they sure are good.
Can't go wrong with anything that's like bread, right?
Yeah, man, that's the kind of food that'll fix what ails you, especially in the winter time. It'll stick to your ribs, make you feel good. Let's see, what's Danny got? We got a new. Oh, I thought you were putting on maybe a new microphone setup. Oh, Medallion 049. That's a great engine. That Medallion is the most user friendly of all of the Coxes.
Yeah,
Beautiful in the box.
that's it. All right. What it? I believe at Joe's Hobby. Yeah, Joe's Hobby Center.
Yeah, that's that one in Michigan y'all talk about, right?
That's it. Mike, bring a tear to Mike's eye as well as mine.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is absolutely
Saturday.
brand new in the
Wow.
box, and I don't want to mess with it, you know. So
Well, it'll never wear out whether you run it or not. Those things just
well,
go
that's
and go
true.
and go.
Never ran a medallion. I had some TDs, a lot of reedies, but I never had a medallion. You say they handled pretty easy, huh?
Yeah, they are far superior to the Reedies and both operator friendly and reliability. They're just great engines, easy to needle.
They were stronger than the reedies, weren't they? Or
Somewhat, yeah. They call it the poor man's TD, but that's
yeah.
not complete exaggeration either. The TD is way more powerful than most of the Reedies,
Yeah.
but the medallions in between and what it lacks doesn't really lack in power, but anything like that's made up for with reliability and ease of use. And yeah, you can, if you need not too much power, but something to fly a half A plane, and you got a beam mount versus a radial mount, you want to use a beam mount, then the medallions the answer without overpowering it like a TD might do. And also the medallion will draw fuel out of a tank like a dream, and a TD will not. TD will run on a tank just fine, but it's finicky. And they say that the medallions tend to cavitate and use one dominant hole in the sprinkler venturi. It's got three holes in the sprinkler, and one of them usually gets to be the primary feed hole, and the others just kind of cavitate. So that's what makes the TD finicky on suction. But the medallion's got the traditional through the throat spray bar on it, so
Yeah.
don't know what would happen.
Yeah. Okay. It's
But
just a regular run.
if you want to run a pressure bladder, you still got to get a fine thread needle valve for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but the medallion is a single bypass too, right? A single port. The TDs are all dual
I
ports,
think
right?
they came with the number 2 cylinder, yeah, which I usually toss that in the junk box and put a dual port on it if I'm going to run it.
And
But that single port, that also makes it more user friendly too. So,
that higher compression,
got there.
higher compression head also,
Yeah.
which has
that's
that
right. The
that
medallion just has a regular old
you can tell the
baked B
difference
type
by
head,
that
Yeah.
that knurling.
early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The old star pattern or
Do
whatever.
all medallions come with just a single port cylinder? Do you know off the top of your head? They come with a
I'm
number
sorry,
2
what was the
single
question?
port. Do all medallions come with the single port cylinder, the single bypass cylinder?
Oh man, I don't
Have a
know.
number 2. I think they've got a number
I'd
2
have
on
to
them,
look
and
it
that's
up.
a single port.
I
Well,
didn't
that would be
realize
the
that.
same as on the Baby B, wouldn't it?
That's
In the
the
Baby
would
B,
be, yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Most of the
it's,
early ones were single port, and some of them are labeled number 2, and those numbers are a little undependable, though.
yeah. I never did understand that graph, that pictures of the different cylinders, but then I am a little slow.
It's not.
So
It's not quite right. It's on Wikipedia. That graph, yeah,
yeah,
the Australian guy put that up, I think. But it's helpful. But yeah, it's not 100% accurate either. But given any engine, I usually ditch the single port and put the dual port, dual bypass. I call ports bypass. I like to have dual bypasses on them anyway, but they're a little less operator friendly, but that's no big deal. They're not that much difference, but they are more powerful that way.
Kim, have you
And
ever
of course,
used this little nipple on the side for timed pressure to the tank?
No, you got to drill through it and through the case
Right.
to use that. And I've never, I can screw them up just great without even doing that. So, you know, but they always bothered me when as a kid, and you kind of want to hop things up, but I didn't truly understand what you had to do. And I've read where they weren't really that effective anyway. But whether that's true or not, I don't know.
Yeah,
it doesn't even have a barb on it to hold the fuel line.
I'm sorry?
It doesn't even have a barb on it to hold the fuel line either.
Uses that port.
No.
I drilled mine when I was in high school and used it.
Yeah. Yeah. If I'd been able to, I probably would have too. But how did it work with you? Did it help at all?
Yeah, I didn't have any issues with it back then. I haven't run this engine for a long time. I just cleaned it up and wanted to run it today, but it was too cold and windy, so maybe I'll get to it this week.
Yeah.
See if it still runs.
Our poor engines got tortured. We used all kinds of fuel in them. We didn't really know the difference. And I'm looking back, I'm kind of amazed that any of them ran at all, but we flew the crap out of them anyway. So
Yeah.
fuel was fuel, you know.
Hey, how about I've got a couple got an eBay engine. Always liked it. I got a Olympic 15, which was
Look at
a
that.
reed valve 15. It was made for just a short. Or I'm sorry, I don't have the Olympic. I have the Sportsman, the plain bearing version. The Olympic was the performance. How do those things run?
On my scale, I've got one. I've flown it. It flew about like the Sportsman. I couldn't really tell any difference. I've got a TD, and of course, it cranked a little bit harder. But I haven't messed with any of the 15.
Would the Sportsman 15 compare with the say the Medallion as far as performance? Or you think
I
it was
think so.
short of that?
Yeah, I think so. I was swapping them up pretty regular. I got a 3 meter bird of time ARF,
Mm-hmm.
and I built a power pod, and I was swapping out engines every couple of days just for the hell of it.
Mm-hmm.
And but I don't remember a big power difference except in the case of the TD, which you would expect.
Yeah.
So, but they're pretty and all that. Everybody has a fit when they see them, so that's kind of a thing, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, the Olympic was all anodized with red and blue anodizing on it and everything like that. The Sportsman was just a plain old, plain bearing, plain looking aluminum thing. I said Olympic, but I have the Sportsman. So, okay.
yeah,
I'm gonna get the thing airborne sometime, just cause.
that'd be great.
Hey, Dennis.
Yeah, Tom, I saw your kit there.
Yeah, Mike.
Yes, Mike.
Mike's waving his hand. What you got, Mike?
Dennis, I want to show you our newest member on the Control Line Flying Facebook page today.
All right.
He shared a picture. You recognize that guy?
Not yet. All right.
Is he coming up?
That's
Still
it.
coming over here.
That's it. That's my nephew, the free fighter. All right.
Yeah,
Oh, wow, there it is.
He
Okay.
finally joined the Control Line Flying site and started posting a few pics today. Now let me see if this works. How about that? You got that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That. The
There's
pin.
Big Art.
Big Art.
Yeah.
What's the history on that picture? On that?
Well, there's a
Somebody draw that?
gentleman from Germany named Klaus Makis. He's basically, obviously a modeler, but he's also an artist in his spare time. He drew like cartoons and stuff like that. And he met my dad. He drew the picture of my dad, sent it to him. And my dad or my mom actually took the picture and had it miniaturized and made a bunch of little lapel pins out of it, about 1 inch square or so. And he used to pass those out as kind of a business card, if you will. He just used to pass those out to people he met and stuff. So there's big art pins all over the place. So that, you know, but it started with this gentleman Klaus Makis in Germany. Klaus, whatever. I've never met the man myself, but he's got an outstanding reputation as a fabulous modeler, and and of course he always did cartoons. And I don't know if he was into any serious painting or anything like that. I know he had his own website. He used to decorate it up with his own cartoons and stuff like that. Neat guy though, neat neat picture. So.
Tom, you were holding up a
Well, that was
Yeah,
a pretty
was
slick
that?
airplane, Archie.
Yeah.
I was out in my shop that's out in the garage and digging through some old stuff that I had and found this
All right.
box.
That's
Actually, I
great.
already built it, but I built it as a single. But inside the box, inside this box, it has the little pods for the. Oops, where am I? Here you go. For the
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you went ahead and
That's
made.
cute.
I do have two 020s, Cox 020s
Uh-huh.
that I could stick on. I'm not sure
Tom, I sold.
getting two of them running. But
I sold that. I sold that exact kit. I'm sorry that it's cutting in and out. I'm not sure when to talk, but I was going to say I sold that exact kit on eBay last year, and I got $100 for it. And Dennis, do you know where that kit came from? Joe's Hobby Shop, and it had a price tag of $9.95 on it. It was one of my dad's old kits. I looked at it and I thought, boy, I thought with all the micro servos and receivers they have now, that would be such a great kit to build.
It would.
But once I looked at the wood in the wood, all this die crunch, just smashed plywood. I was like, no, I'm not building it. There's no way. But you built one, Tom. You built it from the kit, huh?
Yes, I did.
Well, you know,
this kit was $10. That's the price tag on the kit.
Okay. The Goldberg kits I always thought were pretty good, but and before we got spoiled with laser cutting and stuff, they did pretty good die cutting.
Yeah,
did it have the same kind of dihedral it shows in the box picture?
I didn't put that much dihedral in. I think
it's a junior Falcon.
Yes. This one's the Skylark.
Because there's the RC version of the Falcon. Oh, Junior Skylark. I'm sorry. Yeah, but there's also a full-scale sized version of the Skylark.
Yeah, 56 inch.
56 inch.
But I think the wings and tails.
56.
I think the wing and the tail parts came off the Falcon. The Falcon was a high wing, but then they made a low wing fuselage for it and called it the Skylark. And then bit of creativity there. He said, "Oh, you can build it as a twin." So I don't know. I've heard of people who built it as triples. Built it as tri-motors too. So what the heck?
Oh wow!
They also made a Falcon Senior.
Yeah.
Yeah, 69 inch wingspan.
Yeah, but they didn't make the Skylark off of that, which I thought was a shame.
Right, but I did.
You did? All right.
I did. Twin. I have a Skylark Senior twin.
All right.
No,
that would have been big enough to really enjoy. So, very good. So, anyhow.
Here comes somebody joining us. Who we got here?
Guest.
We have a guest joining us, and he's got.
Hey,
Dennis, you
Yay.
listen. I'm going to share something else here.
Hey, gentlemen,
Hey, oh, hey, Lynn.
how's everybody tonight?
good,
Seems like
Good.
everybody's in pretty
Waiting for
good
you to
shape.
come in, all right?
Yeah.
What else you got, Mike?
All right, here's the maiden flight of the Stringless Wonder. Can you see it? Everybody
Yep.
see it?
I'm still waiting, but that's not unusual.
Okay, I'm gonna
there
start.
it is.
Okay, I'm gonna start the video. There we go.
All right.
Not a record-breaking flight, but pretty good for a maiden.
I'd
Yeah, it's
say
getting up there.
so. It looks nice and stable and everything like that.
That was a good flight.
And,
Awesome.
happy customer there.
Yeah, he looks pleased with himself.
Did you make him wind it by hand, or do you have a winder for it, or do you sit there?
No, we wound it by hand at first because all my rubber is really old and I'm scared to use a winder on it. I got to get some new FAI tan rubber
Yeah.
and some glycerin. I'm scared to really load them up because, when it snaps, it breaks the tissue,
Oh, yeah.
it busts the airplane. So, but we had we flew everything yesterday. We flew RC glow stuff, RC electric stuff. We flew rubber stuff. We flew hand launch gliders. We flew half-8 combat, and Sam flew his Super Spider stunt plane. So we went
Wow.
big yesterday. We were doing it all. Yeah, we had a full day,
Awesome.
full day of flying.
That's great.
Nobody on the YouTube side out there is chatting. We got about 13 viewers, but they're quiet tonight. I got David Phelps and me and Jack Snavely. And that's about it.
Okay, I got one more rubber free flight here. I'll shut up here in a minute, but we were
Somebody's
we
got
were
to
flying
talk.
stuff, so I figured I want to share it.
That's
Okay, here
awesome.
we go. When it pops up, this is Peck Polymer ROG, which is rise off ground. Here we go.
Oh, wow. That flies good.
Yeah, I'd have put more rubber and wound it up more.
Good stuff.
It's good, Mike.
Oh, what happened?
That's a
Somebody's
loud
flying.
driver model.
Oh, sorry.
Sounds
Flying.
good.
Super Spider.
That's
You guys
Loud
recognize
rubber
that?
you got there.
Yeah, Tom Dixon, LA 40.
That sounds real good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, it looks like I'm taking up 2 spaces now. Everybody went gray there. Mike was telling us about his flying day and stuff. I did have just a quick show and tell here. Hang on. All right.
All right. Cool.
Oh, look there.
Just a new barnstormer.
Trickster,
Nice.
Barnes. Nice.
So
Very sharp.
Yeah, boy.
yeah. Thanks. Notice that there's not an excess of stripes on this one. So
Very nice.
I thought it was cool. I've had the airframe ready to cover forever, and I just finally I covered it. I started covering it Saturday morning,
All right.
So it's definitely progress from Friday to Monday. I did a new airplane. The reason I say that is that now that this one's finished, I'm going to start another. I'm going to start another one. I hope tomorrow, and hope to have it to show off on Friday. So,
Oh, you're kicking butt now.
well, I'm doing a lot. Again, I'm trying to get a lot of these things done so I can take them to Brodak, and shall we say, make room in my basement. And since that's kind of fallen apart, I'm still trying to get them out. And I'm thinking I'm going to do what I can and take at least a couple of them to the Nats beginner event. Hopefully, I think that's going to happen. I really do believe that's going to happen. But take them to the
That's
Nats
awesome.
beginner, and I don't know, maybe see if FCM could use some or something like that. But yeah, I was counting up all my
great.
projects, and if you'll pardon the expression, I have at least. I have over 19 projects, so I'm calling this summer my COVID-19 projects. All right. All of the airplanes I'm going to finish up COVID-19. So I think I need to do a logo or something like that.
Skull and
You know,
crossbones.
Denny, it's funny. Denny, it's funny you're talking about beginner at the Nats, and you just showed a barnstormer. About 4 years ago, Sam got a profile barnstormer from somebody at beginner at the Nats. It was on the prize table there, and it was a profile, but same plane profile with the Tom Dickberg LA 40 on it, which you would think that's a lot of motor for that airplane. But that was one of the best flying airplanes he ever had. And it was right after he started to learn to do outsides and squares and fly invert and all that stuff. And it was a great little airplane for him for 3 years. He flew it for about 3 years till he finally wrecked it. And I've often thought of building another profile barnstormer. So the guy that donated it said he didn't like the wood that was in the kit for the fuse, so he just made it a profile model instead of building it
Okay.
as a full fuse model. But great flying little.
Well, you can build it with the building as a profile. There's nothing wrong with that. If you build it with a full fuse, he's got something. Maybe he can mess around flying classic or even old time. It'll fly a classic pattern just fine. So, and it'd be just, it's something, if you go to a contest, you can fly a couple of events that way. So,
Kim,
Yo,
several people told me that your channel was Winter Sportster, and I typed it in Winter Space Sportster and got all these motorcycles.
Oh,
Before I
no
realized there wasn't
space.
supposed to be a space in there. But I've been watching a lot of your videos. They're very interesting.
Oh, thank you. I have a lot of fun.
Kim does good photo documentaries.
How's the Navigator coming along?
Yeah, redneck flying.
Yeah.
I haven't touched it. I've kind of stepped back a little bit. I got some burnout. It's ready for me to mask it. And I've got it and my version of the little Skylark. They're both ready for some color paint. But I just got to get in the proper frame of mind. Just, of course, I ain't telling y'all anything. Just masking it off is a project in itself. But I'm going to try to replicate the colors and the scheme I had on it when I built it in '77. So,
Okay.
But it will happen. And now our small fly has been moved to late October. So I want to fly it at that event. So that's it.
Where is that?
Just outside of Little Rock, Arkansas. It's grown to the point we started having two of them. We had the summer small and the fall small. So now the fall small is going to be the biggie, and hopefully. I think I can't remember the weekend. It's kind of late in the month, like the 24th of October or something like that. I get down there on a Tuesday with my camper and just set up shop and stay till Sunday. And it's a lot of fun. Whole bunch of electric and whole bunch of glow fuel stuff, control line and radio control and free flight. And our buddy Kevin Wilfong always shows up with a few Cox flying saucers and launches those. That's kind of become a thing in itself. So it's a lot of fun.
I have one of those.
But yeah, I think Kevin has a collection. He's come out with several of them. He's also got the little O-20 powered Skycopter. And I've got one of those. I keep forgetting to fly it. I take it down there and then it gets shoved back in a corner and doesn't get brought out. So I'm going to try it this time, try to remember it.
Is that one of those auto gyros? Is that an auto gyro?
Yeah, it's sort of
type?
auto gyro. Sometimes it just falls out of the sky. Yeah, that's the intent. It's free flight. It just goes straight up and comes straight down.
That was you that posted some of those after last year's small event, wasn't it? I think you put some on your documentary.
Yeah, there's one where kind of one of the blades get kind of whopper jawed and it takes off. And Tony had a Airwolf version with an 049, and it'll kind of get off kilter and start traveling across the field. It's pretty exciting actually, since they're not being steered or anything. And but yeah, they're a lot of fun. The blades usually get broken because they land hard, even though they're trying to quote unquote auto rotate to the ground. But they're kind of cool. So
Alan Perret built a large sized one for I think a 35 sized engine, and that it sold pretty well. I think he sold a bunch of them as kits, and they were pretty fun to fly. And one of our guys, David Smith in Huntersville, has got one, but it's definitely got some years on it. You can see the battle scars clearly, but it still works.
Oh yeah,
it did a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
I
believe on one of the small.
Well, the one you're talking about,
the
one you're talking about is the torque reaction helicopter, isn't it?
Right.
Yes.
It's not really an auto gyro per se. So,
no.
Okay.
Well, right. It's auto flopper. But I got my first one in 75 or so. And we, of course, we experimented. We tied a string to it, had it carrying wrenches around underneath itself and stuff like that. But yeah, it auto rotates when the engine quits, hopefully. So
yeah. Hey Rusty, I got a dead window up here.
I got video on one of the small ones.
I don't know how to close that out. Do you?
What are you trying to close?
There's a dead window with DA on it.
Oh, I don't know. It happened to Bob the other night, and it happened to me too. And I ended up having to close my browser and reopen it a couple of times, and it finally went away. I don't remember if I had to close the whole computer or not, but close your browser and rejoin. I don't think it's hurting anything.
We don't see it on our screens.
Really? It's frozen. It's not taking up any bandwidth.
It's on my screen.
Yeah, top right-hand corner.
Oh, is it?
It's in a different place on everybody's screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm trying. I can't find a way to close it, so I thought maybe there was.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, just leave it. I looked all over the other night and couldn't find a way to make it go away without rebooting. That was last Monday night when everything was locking up. My internet was going off. And my son's house had a hole through the roof. I found out the next day. 7 people died last Sunday night and Monday morning in Columbia, in the Columbia area, in those thunderstorms that came through. It was just a nasty front blew through. really quick, but it did some damage when it was here. Oh, hey, Charles, I didn't see you pop in. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I'm doing. I was doing some sanding, so I turned my mic off. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was just doing some work on this plane, this new Strega.
Yep.
Yep.
Can I bore you guys with one more video of our flying
Go for it.
Absolutely.
session?
Go.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah,
Oh
man.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Sam taking off the Eagle 63 RC plane. That was a skill he acquired last year.
Looks like he's in
That was a
control.
good rollout and takeoff.
So, like I said, we flew a little bit of everything on Sunday, yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Today's Monday, right? Yeah, yesterday.
Today is, ever since Ollie's been working at home, I've had the hardest time remembering which day it is. The routine's all scrambled.
That's about it.
It's gone, Danny. Your extra
Yeah.
screen's gone.
It is. What'd you do?
I don't know. I just
Then
Windows started.
rebooted. No, there he is.
Yeah.
Okay. What'd you do, Denny? How'd you get rid of your dead screen?
When Mike closed his video, it went
Yeah.
away. So
When people share videos,
Cool.
weird things happen all over.
yeah, that's
Okay.
it. So
Yeah,
I didn't do a thing to it. It just went away. So
I usually use sound or picture. All freezes up when someone shows something. But
yeah, I don't know how all that works.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really? So, how many of you were able to see the videos I was running? Did everybody see them, or does it lock up for
Mhm.
people?
It was
Yeah,
I can hear the
junky at
audio.
some point.
Yeah, it was not real smooth. It was a little notchy, but it came through. So
Yeah, same
Okay.
here.
it seemed to be skipping a few frames or something like that. But,
I usually have to wait longer than most of you to see a screen share pop up. So when y'all are oohing and eyeing over a screen share, I'm still waiting for it to pop up. But I'm getting them okay tonight.
Okay.
Every time you guys post a video, what I do is click on the little 4 squares down at the bottom of the screen. It seems to work better.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
I try to run it in that mode too. That
Okay.
seems to work better for me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a Eagle 63 on floats that I'm anxious to try this summer.
Great. It should be a
Oh,
good.
oh,
It
cool.
should be a good one on
Yeah.
floats. That flat bottom wing and all. It ought to really take off great on the floats.
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that
Mine taking pictures today. Somebody gave his son an eaglet. What's the eaglet? Smaller
Eaglet.
one, right?
yeah
50 inch
yeah
Carl
that sounds
Goldberg
right.
plane.
25
smaller.
engine, something like that.
Okay. So somebody gave him a kit and a 6-channel high-tech radio and like an OS 32 to go in it. And he knew that I did modeling. So he's texting me these pictures of the kit and the motor and the radio. He's like, will this work? Is this good? I'm like, yeah, it's good. It'll work. But you got to build it. And if you've never built a plane, you know, it's not, it's for like his 13-year-old kid. I'm like, you got to make him understand this is probably going to be a 4-month project for you guys. It's not something you're going to do in a weekend and get going. And he's like, oh, maybe you could help us out and we could just slam it together in a weekend. I'm like, yeah, no, that doesn't go like that, because this is a full-on kit, man. It's a full-on RC kit. It's not an ARF.
An OS-32, wouldn't that would just about fly the Eagle 63, wouldn't it? Not the little one.
Oh, I think it would. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Thinking that Eagle was made for a 15 or something like that, but
yeah,
it's probably way too much motor. Yeah, like I said, I don't know where they got it. It was given to them, and obviously not by a modeler, because nobody would have bought that motor for that kit had they known, you know.
Yeah, right.
But we'll see if we can help them get it together.
I got a senior telemaster I picked up at a swap meet.
The telemaster, that should be a blast. Big old kite.
Yeah, big old kite. That's the one.
Yeah.
8-foot wingspan. 8-foot wingspan. It's a big monster. It's all framed up, but it's not finished. So I'm going to finish it and fly it.
Oh, okay.
I got it for
$50. Cut out on me there. I was. Yeah, it's going to cost you $150 to put monocoat on it.
Yeah.
It cost you $150 to cover it.
Yeah.
It's a big airplane, man. It's a big airplane.
Oh, it's massive. Oh yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, I'll bet that'll take 8 rolls of monocoat, man. I'll bet it'll take 8 rolls of monocoat to finish that thing.
Thanks, Mike. You got. I never thought of it, but yeah, you're right.
That's why you got it.
It says on the box that thing will fly on a 40 or a 60, but I'm thinking of putting like a 120 in it.
No,
seriously,
will do it.
Probably a 60 or so would be nice with it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, the thing
I can come up with a.
It's
60.
all wing. It'll fly in the wing, so like almost like an old time free flight or something like that. I think if you overpowered it, you might shed the wings or something. But
Yeah.
It's all sticks.
Yeah, exactly. It's all sticks, but I'll tell you, this thing weighs a ton of wood. The wood in the kit was like spruce. I mean, it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
They make a 12-foot.
This thing's framed to the wood that they used.
Yeah.
Really? Well, that one would use a 120.
Did they finally quit making those kits?
12-foot telemaster.
Who was that? Is it Hobby Lobby?
Hobby Lobby.
Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby. Yeah.
Hobby Lobby.
Are they still around even?
Yeah, and did you know
They're in Nashville too, weren't they?
this? You know their old storefront was here in Nashville. Hobby Lobby. Their only physical store that you could walk to was right here in Nashville. And they lost their lease about 3 years ago and closed the store. Now I don't know if they still are an online presence or not. But they lost their actual storefront that was here.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, I used to shop with them online.
Did you know that store hobby here in Nashville? It was in Model Aviation a few years ago on the back cover. Roy Orbison built and flew model airplanes, and the day before he died, he went into Hobby Lobby and bought a bunch of stuff. The day before he died, back in Oh, Christ, when was that? 88, 89, somewhere in there, maybe 90? I don't know.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that long ago.
Wow.
No, it had to be.
You could probably Google it and find it.
Because he was putting out music with the Traveling Wilburys, and that was
Yeah.
later than the 80s.
90s, early 90s. Roy Orbison, I'm going to Google it right now. It wasn't late 90s, I'm
I
sure.
think it was early,
But it was-
maybe mid
It
90s.
was in model aviation here. Does anybody remember? But I never knew he was a modeler. But apparently he
I
built and
didn't
flew
until,
model airplanes all the way.
yeah, I didn't until Bob Hunt said he met him at the field one day, in New Jersey, I guess. And, we started talking about other aero modeling superstars like David Bowie apparently is an aero modeler. So I hear.
Roy Orbison
I can't
died in
remember.
1988.
Did he?
Roy died in 1988.
Okay. Damn, time passes fast.
Right,
Yeah, the Wilbury stuff was like 85, 86, 87, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I was thinking it was. Yeah, I didn't remember it was that
So,
far back.
but there was somebody that worked at the hobby shop, that worked at Hobby Lobby, and they said an old guy in an old beat up pickup truck came in and bought a whole bunch of modeling stuff and didn't realize until after the fact that it was actually Roy Orbison.
Wow.
They probably
Yeah,
didn't
you
have
remember their
black colors on in his stage look. Don't recognize people outside of their element.
We need to get more famous people into model aviation.
I had to refresh my chat. There's people typing out there that I didn't know, like Phil Bailey's out there, and let's see who else we got. Philip Bailey and Chris Stretz is out there too. Hadn't talked to Chris in ages.
All right.
I'll probably know.
I talked to Chris tonight. I spoke to Chris tonight. He's on the hunt for some PAs.
He
So
went
is
from
everybody else.
0 to 60 in a hurry with his learning curve, learning the stunt pattern. Because when he first, when I was first starting to get to know him, he had barely started it, and then like overnight he was flying at a much higher level than I was, if I recall correctly.
So, Robert, looks like you have your SV planted there strategically. What's going on?
I started some work on it, and amongst other things, just don't really.
You
shouldn't have worked on it. Should have worked on it. I couldn't resist it. So I got a little bit annoyed with the engine installation. The 56 went in there just fine, but they built the damn thing with the nose ring a 16th out. To use an 1/8-inch pads that are spec'd on it. If I do that, then the spinner's at 16th low on the nose ring, and I'll have to either carve the nose ring and refinish it, or put up with 1/16-inch plates, which I'd rather not. So I was a little annoyed on that, but otherwise it's going together fairly well.
Okay, so the aluminum plates are the thing you wanted to use.
Yeah, it's got phenolic mounts that came with it, but it's, it says an 1/8-inch, which gives you a whole bunch more tank adjusting. But if I have to do 16th, that'd be the easiest, to just swap out the pads, make a set out of 16th. I've got a sheet of it, but or grind and nose ring down a little bit. I'll just show you if it shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if that shows there. And with this big engine there, I had to cut it open just about windy style for to fit the cowl on, but not a problem. And they didn't have any bush on the control horn, so I made up some. So should be okay there. But all in all, it's not too bad of a kit. I even found a little pilot that was matching colors even to put in it.
Okay. Did you take the
Cool.
bubble off, or are you going to try to get the pilot up from the bottom?
I'm gonna put them up from the bottom.
Yeah.
Maybe even sneak in. And I'll just replace that whole plate maybe with a module and plug it from the bottom. But all in all, I mean, it's not bad. I got the wheel pants mounted up, so it's
Very good. A lot of people have talked about that. They got those funny looking little plywood pieces and stuff like that. And people are, what the heck are those for? The wheel pan. There's nothing in there about the wheel pans. So
I couldn't get the damn things to glue to that plastic worth of shit. So I just cut some fender washers and ground a flat on them and used that, and that worked out just fine. And I replaced the axle with Dubros.
Yeah. You ever used shoe goop? That stuff will stick anything to anything.
No.
It's really
Yeah, that
heavy
is
and everything
pretty
like that,
good.
but for as far as gluing for odd plastics and stuff like that, it's definitely the plan. Looks like Mike's got a tube handy.
Because I'm using it tonight, man. I've got so these are called body washers for RC cars. So you got RC car body, right? You put these washers on, you put them where the pins come through, and they keep your body from breaking, and that's what you put them on with.
I've been using it for today. I've been gluing canopies and windshields with it. Works really good for that. It grabs like crazy.
It does. It's sticky.
It's kind of like your first impression is that it's like
David Bowie playing with the model airplane. If anyone wants to see it,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I missed what you said, Mike. What did you just?
So there's a picture of David Bowie with a metal.
All right.
Everybody remember Bowie? And here's the other one. It's sitting on the floor right there. Can you see that?
Yeah.
I'm about to. Yep, here it comes. Wow.
That is so on the floor there. That's the Mattel Superstar. If anybody remembers that from the 70s, that had NiCad batteries and an electric motor. It's a foam plane with a plastic body, and you charged it with a 6-volt land battery right up underneath it. It was a free flight model airplane. And if you didn't see the first one, I'll put that one back. That's him smoking a cigarette, getting it ready to fly.
There we go. Yeah, cool. Who
And
would have ever
there's
guessed that David Bowie?
there's other pictures of him doing rubber free flight stuff. I've seen him tonight, but there are other ones of him flying stick and tissue stuff. So who'd have known, huh? Dave was a modeler.
Doing something normal.
I think
Yeah,
he's
David
dead now.
Phelps knows that plane. He said it'd fly about 5 feet high off the ground. That little plastic.
Oh, really?
NiCad plane. Yeah.
I always wanted one. I always wanted that Mattel Star, but Dad not buy junk. He's like, no, that thing's junk. It ain't gonna fly. Build a rubber one.
Yeah, I remember seeing them in the box, but I never did have one either.
Oh, they still fetch. They fetch $100 on eBay, even beat up. If you catch one new in the box, they want like $150, $175 for them. And if it's new in the box from 1974. Those NICADs have leaked all over the goddamn,
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
all over the place.
Anything to do with
It's
those?
just stained with green goo. Green goo is running all through the fuselage out of those NICADs from 40 years ago.
Nickel
Oh, yeah, that's
cadmium. What could
disgusting.
go wrong, right? That's
What I used to get at Christmas when I was real little were those things that had a handle like a red flashlight and I don't know how long, maybe a 6 foot long piece of tubing with a wire that spun, the motor in the head of the handles spun and
Yeah.
turned the
Yeah.
propeller on the plane and you'd fly it around your head.
I had one
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
those.
That was Stanzel Company,
Yeah.
Atomic Superfly.
I had several of those things.
Yep.
I remember one Christmas when I was real little, I evidently put the wire between my teeth and clamped down on it, and it wouldn't fly anymore. Dad said, "What's wrong with it?" And I told him, I said, "I bit it." And he said, "You bit it?" And he said, "See if you ever get one of those again." And I don't think I ever did. So, but I think I did actually, because I remember playing with them after that.
Did you
Hey,
get
kids
a
are going to
baby
be
shot?
kids. So, no, I didn't.
Back in 2011, I found a company that repopped those. They made them again back around 2011, 2012. And I bought Sam one for Christmas. He was 3.5 years old. And I think I got 2 videos of him swinging it around in the living room at Christmas. And then he immediately broke it. It was broken like after 2 flights. It was just broke the cable in it, because he's in there.
Yeah, he was probably helping it along pretty good.
$25 or something. The repop.
Another thing I used to get at Christmas once in a while, maybe 2 or 3 times, were these green and white helicopters. I think the plastic was clear, and they had pretty big blades, as I recall. But being childhood memories, I couldn't tell you if they were 2 feet long or whatever. But you'd had a ripstick with teeth on it, and you'd rip, and it would fly, and it would fly off the handle, and then fly into the house and break the blades off. And
Zoom
that's what I remember about them.
Hey, Rusty, you're supposed to take it outside.
You pull
I
it so
did.
hard,
This was the outside bricks. We
you
didn't
pull
have
it
bricks
so hard,
inside.
you just break the string off.
You guys want
You
to see
usually
Christmas?
just rip the string off.
Yeah.
You guys want to see Christmas 1968?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I was doing the stuck inside thing, and I dug out my very first woodworking toolkit that I got for Christmas, one of the junior carpenters, and it was in pretty deplorable shape, so I've started refurbishing it. That was my very first woodworking kit.
Awesome. That's a real woodworking kit.
Yeah, that looks like that's the real
Plywood's
deal.
all peeled apart stuff, so I redid it. Got a bit more, but I just hate waste or something just sitting around going to crap. So it took me a day, but what the hell?
I think it was Mattel made a little wood turning lathe. And I got one of those for Christmas one year. That thing was a blast.
Wow.
I can't even imagine. Their lawyers must have had a conniption over it, but
I'll bet.
Like a couple of little chunks of like 1-inch square pine, and had some pine blocks and balsa blocks in it. And they had these guides you could take and just move it back and forth, and take the square block, and make it round, and then make it look like a candle holder or a candlestick or something like that. And they had little thing, that had sandpaper in it and everything like that. But I don't know, it came out about the same time that my little sister got her Easy Bake Oven. So
Did it come with safety glasses too?
it did. It had a piece of just flat plastic that you threaded an elastic through it and just kind of paste it to your face.
Okay, that's good.
It would stop all the stuff, that's for sure. So,
Give your microphone a shake, Denny.
geez, here we go again.
There you go. You fixed it already.
Well, it's like the next year, I think it was, I got a steam engine. I didn't get to play with it till all the adults went back. But I had a lot of fun with that thing with the piano set, building mute, whatever. And I still have it. Maybe I'll restore that thing someday too. But kids needs things that you light on fire and potentially blow up. It's always good. The old days when we had chemistry sets. And
I had a cool
Have you seen me?
What's that, Mike?
I was going to say, have you seen me run my steam engine on the show? I've got one that we run. I've run it 2 or 3 times on here.
No, I haven't. Maybe I'll have to get mine going and run it here before long. Good incentive to do it.
Yeah, Mike's got a good one.
And Rusty, you said chemistry set. I distinctly remember my chemistry set had an asbestos sample in the glass. If you can believe that.
Wow.
It had asbestos in a glass tube with all the other chemicals. They passed out asbestos in like a chemistry set for 10-year-old kids in the 70s, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's before it was dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Best toolkit thing. My first toolkit had a real hammer, a real saw, and the story in the family is I was 4 years old and I saw the leg off of one of my grandmother's dining room chairs with the saw. It was a real saw.
You were in trouble.
I saw the leg off of my grandma's chair. I don't remember it, but I remember the tool set, but I don't remember doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who the hell gives a real saw? And
me and Holly.
Yeah, real saw with nothing to use it
saw
on, right?
something with it.
Yeah.
Me and Holly gave Al a little set that had a real saw in it, but his also had wood in it too, a bunch of different size planks of wood. So he could hammer and saw and screw things, and that was pretty cool. We always gave him stuff that was a little over his age, but he had fun figuring it out. And we did give him a good chemistry set that was way too far over his head, but hell, he grew up to be a chemist, so I guess it wasn't all for naught.
Yeah, that's it. He put a little out of his reach, but he caught it. He caught it soon enough. I don't know. The wood turning stuff, I've always been fascinated by that. There's a lot of great YouTube videos and people turning, wood on wood turning, things like tree roots, turning them into bowls and stuff like that. Not just nice. They're not starting with nice pieces of wood. They're starting with things like tree roots, and they get them all turned, and they got the grain. Because it's a root, their grain's going, 17 different directions and everything like that. And you get it all stained and everything like that. They're just gorgeous. But
yeah,
I don't know. It looks to me like I bump up with the chisel, and I think the next frame would be me, doing a Wile E. Coyote over the top of it, getting slammed on the other side or something.
Dennis, if you really like that stuff. Check out my buddy's site. It's called Roundwood Studio, Nashville. I have a friend. He's an IT guy at a company, is what he does by day. But his hobby, we have airplanes. My friend James, his hobby is turning stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it started as like 3 lathes now, small, medium, large. And the guy turns all kinds of amazing stuff. It's called Roundwood Studio, Nashville. You can find him on Etsy and on Facebook as well. And he's as passionate about taking a slab of wood and making a bowl or a base out of it. We are about building balsa planes, you know,
Mhm, mhm.
and it's just amazing some of the stuff that he cranks out.
Okay.
Hang on a sec. I'll get an example of turning.
I bet he could crank out a hell of a line reel.
Yeah. Or fuselage.
Yeah.
A mold for
Yeah.
a fiberglass.
Actually,
For a glass
I had him turn out a wooden mandrel to make cellulite bladder tanks out of. We were trying to make bladder tanks for combat planes that were super light. So we were using cellulite plastic around, and I told him what size I needed. So he went in, took a piece of wood, and made us a 1 3/4 inch mandrel that we could wrap the cellulite around oxyon and then slide it off and make these super light bladder tanks with.
Cool.
Looky
What's that,
there.
Rob?
Look, now we got some serious wood turning.
Yeah, this was the most important woodworking project I've ever done in my life. I made a pair of them. When my mom died last year, I made her an urn identical to this. And then I made one at the same time for my father. I just haven't had to put him in it yet. So I did that out of black walnut.
Wow.
So it's that's all. You can see the number of laminations to form into a cylinder. That takes some real fast glue up work.
Yeah, you laminated enough to turn that. Wow.
So, yeah, like I say, the most important woodworking projects I've ever done in my life, and hopefully ever will do.
That is fabulous. That's fantastic.
Yeah, nice.
There's a ton of woodworking in that before you even got turning. Just building those laminations like that. You had
That's
to,
right.
you had to pipe those things.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
For the top bottom, I made a custom jig that with numerous plates that screwed into it to bring it in and to get the glue up. And so, you got to be pretty fussy on doing the angles because there's no possibility of much wood filler in something like this.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just thought I'd show that as an example of some wood turning.
That's cool.
What do you think? That's a cheese board that my buddy, the guy who turns, he made these cheese boards and gave them out as Christmas presents last year. But same thing, it's a bunch of laminated stuff,
Oh yeah.
I don't have the patience for that. You got it now? You see all the different.
Got it. It's kind of
there's
too
like
dark. I can't see anything.
It's too dark.
shadow.
Yeah. Too dark to see all the inlays and laminations, but I don't know.
That's cool.
I'd rather build stuff out of wood that I can pile into the ground at 80 miles an hour, rather than cut the cheese on.
Yeah, really. Something my nephew, the rubber modeler, is working on. He's making a prop for an outdoor rubber model. And of course, he's trying to laminating the sticks. Okay. And I think he was wondering about see Robert when he gets back. He wanted to take and stain the different layers.
Oh.
But didn't know how to do that, how to make it a stain. It would go like 100% through the balsa. You know what I mean? Because, when you start carving it, it could be stained like on the surface, but as soon as you start carving on it, you're going to lose all of it. So, Robert,
Dennis.
How would you stain those layers? It's all balsa. How would you stain that layer so that the stain went all the way through the wood? So when you carve the balsa into a perfect, it's going to be a propeller. When you carve it, you keep the stain. So you get all the different layers. He's trying to do like make it look like a laminated product, actually. But only instead of using all different kinds of wood, he's trying to use just balsa. Is there a way to stain the balsa that stains it like all the way through the core?
You probably have to soak it in
Actually,
something to stain.
if you use the water-based
Yeah.
stain, they penetrate and go through. You can give that a
Yeah,
shot.
it's thin. It's like, I think those layers were 1/16 or so. But,
Yeah, instead of using water, though, get the powdered stain, and instead of using water as a mix, use alcohol.
okay.
That seems to work better.
I'll-
Penetrating.
Well, if I talk about how maybe I'll stain it for him. Oh. Never mind. Okay, a powder stain using alcohol and let it sit, sit long enough to the so-called through. Okay.
Yeah, it penetrates through almost instantly. With balsa so porous, it'd be 100% saturation.
Yeah. Okay. If it works, tell them I need one for my hair.
Your mic's not working, Denny.
No, we're not hearing you too good, Dennis. When's your birthday?
I don't understand. Oh, well.
When's your birthday, Dennis?
Well, end of May. May 26th.
Okay. I'm going to get your address. I'm going to send you a new microphone.
Oh, jeez. I get it with an ear loop. I can't understand. I
You
just
should have known that was coming.
I thought the wire cable was the thing. I got a brand new cable here, and that doesn't seem like that made any difference. You guys are coming through great. But,
it seems
Sounds
like a
better now.
positional thing, but it's hard to tell from here.
Dennis,
Okay.
if you were handier, I'd say put some stain. This is all powdered stain mix.
Okay.
Step away. I'll be right back.
Or so it's not too handy.
Is
This
that,
is Gerald Wimmersberg.
did you get that at a woodworking store? The powdered stains?
Yeah, I got this at an industrial woodworking supply store.
Okay.
You probably have a Richelieu near you. They may or may not sell retail, though. The one here, it's strictly wholesale. But you can check in on that. But any of the stores that sell any kind of decent hardwoods, especially if they got exotics, they'll have a full line of stains. Or know where to get it.
Okay, that sounds good.
Same with adhesives. It's kind of silly to buy a lot of it in a shop. Like I never buy CA at the hobby store except for the foam-based compatible stuff. I just buy it in industrial bulk quantities pretty well for half the price.
That sounds good. I don't know if I use enough to where
Like
it would
stuff
go bad sitting on the shelf or something. But,
Hey, Mike.
Well, I've got a bar fridge down here, just half for glue. Let's just get things out here.
Mike, can you hear me? Yeah, Mike.
Somebody say my name.
Turn your camera off and turn your camera back on. Let me check something, because you're locked up right now. And Rusty was locked up, and he turned his off, and it worked.
How's that?
Yeah, I guess not. You're still locked up.
I'm still locked up?
Yeah.
Not moving?
No, you're moving fine.
I'll log off and join.
My screen.
You're moving good on my screen.
Yeah. Rusty was locked up, and he turned his off and turned it back on. It worked.
I don't want to do that.
Nah.
Yeah.
Go to the four. Hey, there's Steve. What's going on there, Steve?
Not too much and nothing.
Yeah.
We made a rule. Only joke per show.
Only what?
Only one bad joke per show.
I wasn't around for the
The
World.
first one.
Make it a good one. Yeah,
Make it a good one.
either. I don't remember that rule.
I only have good jokes.
Okay, that was the
Dude.
first one. Oh, that was the last one.
But I haven't even thought of one today. Sometimes shit pops into my head and sometimes it don't. I did have a show and tell item
Get
though.
at it.
Yeah, just in case Gerald Wimmer comes on tonight. Apparently, it's his birthday.
Say that again, Rob. What'd you say?
Yeah, in case Gerald comes on tonight. I was looking at Stunthangar. I guess it's his birthday today.
Oh,
Yeah.
From New Zealand.
I haven't seen him in a while.
no.
Anybody know what that is?
Oh, an oil can. I got one.
Oil can.
An oil
Oh,
can.
Can.
I got it out of the garage. I'm still afraid to pick this up to this day because when I was a kid, every time I did, my dad would slap me on the back of my head because I was known to play with it.
Why is that?
But I don't know why. When I was a
Oh,
kid,
yeah, Charles has one.
about 4 or 5 years old, I always had that oil can. Damn, would I get in trouble?
Yeah. Charles just held one up. He's got one too. Yeah, I got one like that. A couple of them, I think. I got mine from the owner of Cox Engine Forums. I think that's where he sent me a brand new one.
My dad had one or two of those, but I never got them.
Somebody put a message in the video chat box. Let's see who posted a message in there.
Yeah, this is all
It
brass
takes
or
forever.
something, I guess. I don't know. It's older than hell. I don't know when my dad
that
got
was
it,
Charles. He said he,
but I got my ass in trouble
You guys
55
all-
years ago using it.
You guys sure have a lot of old stuff. I don't have any old stuff. I was too hard on everything. Nothing ever lasted long enough to get old.
Well, the reason
Except
why
you.
I got
I can send you my wife, Lynn.
Oh, you be nice.
now the reason why I
Send you
got
my
it
wife,
was
Lynn.
because my
Yeah,
dad
my back.
don't
made sure I
don't
didn't
go there,
use it.
Mike. You're gonna get in trouble.
When I was a kid,
Dad.
my mom and dad bought a house. Yeah, I must have. This is
Right.
about the same time with this oil can because that's where I remember that house and this freaking oil can. But they tore out all the kitchen cupboards, and back then, I guess the cupboards were custom. They were built, and then plaster was put around the cupboards. So when they pulled this
For
one
sure.
cupboard down, there was a U.S. Navy huge, like a spyglass or telescope thing that come out, made all of brass and this leather looking thing to keep it in. So my dad let me play with that, and it lasted maybe an hour, and I dropped it.
Yeah, he broke it. That was the end of that.
You know, and this house was built in
Oh, yeah. Oh,
the original house was built in 1901 or 1902. So that thing was, someone put it in the wall and built that cabinet over it. Must have forgot it. So no telling when that damn Navy spyglass thing was even made. But
it was probably like a time capsule. They thought somebody'd find it someday and it'd be cool, which I guess it was.
I always figured it wasn't made that good because it only lasted me about an hour.
The thing had been through the war, been through the Civil War, been through the Spanish-American War, and everything like that. lasted an hour in your hands, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Way to
My
go.
dad was so pissed.
Here's
More than likely, I took it upside the head that day too. What's wrong with you?
probably did.
Well, see
Now you
what?
know
That's
why
when
we look like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. The spyglass had a head-shaped dent in it after that, right?
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. Sounds
Yeah,
like
my mom-
Steve might have a cumulative concussion syndrome.
Yeah.
Me and my brother both. That was my. You always heard my mom, the neighbors, like, Jay, stop hitting them kids in the head. That was my dad's favorite thing. We stay out of arm's reach. Whack! What the hell's wrong with you?
You probably was
Hey, I
oiling
still
him.
remember my worst day with my dad. I went to school that day and I decided to sell a Christmas present that my sister gave me because I wanted something else. Okay. And then I went home and showed my dad. He was PO'd. So then we went to my aunt's that night for a visit. And he caught me standing out on the road in front of her house, and it was a very busy street. So he came up, and I got the boot right right in the arse, and landed on the sidewalk that day. I didn't get hit the first time, but I sure got it the second time. He made up for it. He'd had enough.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
From the time I was, I'd say 8 years old to 11 years old, I had my ass whipped every day. Me and my brother both. I mean, we were always fighting or with other kids in the neighborhood or between ourselves or doing something to get in trouble for. And it was just every day. We didn't learn well.
I was just thinking I was pretty bad until I found model airplanes.
Like I said, that one time we took.
Can I tell a story about?
Don't be
Go ahead,
Let me
Mike.
tell you about when I remember most and feel the most terrible about. But it's airplane related, so it fits. I was probably 10,
Okay.
and Dad and I were flying my Ringmaster down at the park, and some of my school buddies came down there to watch us fly. And I was so jazzed that my friends were to be there to see me fly my airplane. I was running out to the handle, and I tripped over the lines while Dad was adjusting the needle valve on the Fox 35, and his thumb went right through the back of the prop. Boy, it took half of his nail off.
Oh.
And he let the airplane go, and it went flying half a circle and crashed and broke. And I felt so bad. I was embarrassed, and I felt bad because I hurt my dad. I hurt him. But I still had to ask him. I was like, well, can we just put a new prop on and fly it? And he's like, hell no, that wing is broken in half, you idiot.
Damn.
Well, me and my brother, we decided to run a Cox 049 in the garage. So we got some little screws, screwed it up to a shelf that went across the garage. And we made up a tank or something, and we were just running it and messing around with it, stuff like that. Well, my dad got a brand new Mercury, 1972 Mercury. And I don't know where they were at when we were running it, but he comes home and he pulled the car in. Well, the hood was right over top of that piece of wood that we screwed that motor to. The next morning, he goes out to get in his car, and here's this big part of the hood with no paint on it. Just trying to prime the
I bet he
motor,
wanted
up
that
here, just
Mercury
poured
forever.
fuel, and it all dripped down on the hood of his car.
I bet he was proud of that new Mercury too, wasn't he?
Oh my God! Luckily, back then it was lacquer paint, and they fixed it. But yeah, brand new car. The damn thing was about a week old. We took the paint right off the hood of it. But like I
slap
said,
y'all upside the head.
nah, he tore my ass up with a belt for that.
So, man.
Yep.
Yeah, that kind of
I remember
reminds me of when I was.
When Al was little, I tried to spank him a couple of times, but I couldn't catch him. Little sucker was faster than I was.
Well, my dad, he'd wait till we were in the house and we didn't have far to run. So, but yeah, and he always wore these really skinny little leather belts, like from the 50s. Even in his whole life, he always wore them damn little skinny belts.
Yeah, my dad did too. I remember that. That was a style. That and penny loafers.
Yeah.
Wore penny loafers too.
My dad could read me like a book. He knew every bloody thing I did. It didn't matter whether it was day, night, morning, or any other time. I couldn't put anything past him. He knew always. If I was doing something wrong, it was like he could read it. It was like, what are you doing? Uh-oh, here it comes.
No,
I can remember.
Yeah, nothing. That's right, Mike. Nothing.
Yeah, that's it.
Look out.
Nothing.
That's the worst, and that's the worst answer. Nothing. Look out, you're gonna die. It's over.
That's an automatic answer.
7 years.
Nothing.
No.
And it's the worst answer because right away he knows, oh, you're lying. You're in trouble right now. Boom.
Yeah, the licking I remember most.
Nothing.
I was 7 years old, and my dad was building a Quonset hut shop with wooden beams, all laminated and everything fancy, custom ordered. And a buddy of mine and myself, we went to the job site. There was an axe there. So we proceeded to cut one of the damn beams in half. And I licking over that. But it didn't hurt so much when I heard my mother strip off my dad for leaving an axe out where little boys could get at it. They could have got hurt. He got more of a thrashing than I did. But
oh man.
Yeah, I always had the neighbors turning me in. They knew my dad was the only one that enforced rule. And so they knew I'd get in trouble. They didn't waste their time telling on any of my friends because nothing happened to them. But they knew something would happen to me, so I'd be the first place they call their house, turn me in.
Yeah,
One of the worst
well, I stole my dad's car keys and took his car for a joyride when I was 15, and I pulled up to a stop right up to my next door neighbor. My next door neighbor, who's a Detroit police officer, and she yanked me out of the car because she knew I didn't have a driver's license. She took me out of the car right there, pulled the car over and parked it at parents. That's how smart I was. I took the car for a joyride around the neighborhood with no license at 15 and pulled up next to my cop neighbor at a traffic light. That's how smart I was.
You really weren't.
That's how lucky you were, too.
You're top shelf. You were.
Well, when I was 15, I got my driver's license, and the day I soloed, I blew both front motor mounts in my mom's 68 327 Caprice. And so the motor lifted up and chewed up the shroud around the fan. And then it settled back down. So if you didn't hit the gas too hard, I mean, like soft, then it would go. But I didn't say anything about it when I got home. Later on, Mom says, Russ, you want to go to the grocery store with me? Or somewhere like that. And so I, for whatever reason, did, because I was worried as shit about this thing. I was wondering what was going to happen. We got in the car and got about 6 blocks away from the house, and she stops at the stop sign. When the traffic clears, she steps on the gas, and rawr, that engine came up with the fan chewing on that plastic radiator shroud again. And she's like, what the hell? And pulled over, and I think we limped it back home, but she had no idea that I had caused that to happen, because it wasn't happening when we got in the car, but it did happen while she was driving it. So I got out of that one. It wasn't until
Nice
years
cover.
later I told her I did that.
Yep.
Hey, Mike, if I had done what you did, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I'd have been
Why?
under the
Because you wouldn't have a
cornfield.
butt to sit on.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't be sitting. I wouldn't be alive today. He'd have killed me. I guarantee it. There would have been no questions asked. That's
That
wild.
almost happened.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That's just one of a few
I was way
boneheaded
too
things
afraid.
I ever did.
Like,
Mom,
a good Baptist family that really believed in spare the rod, spoil the child.
well, I have my mom to thank for me still being here, because Mom was the buffer between
oh yeah,
all my stupid mistakes and Dad killing me.
your dad. Yeah, that's right. Wow.
My dad didn't have a mean bone in his body, other than palm of the hand spankings. That's all I ever got as a kid.
Boy, I wish I did.
I was petrified of my dad and knew what he was capable of, so I didn't try much.
Me and my brother, though, we learned fast. You guys remember it was like a paddle with this little rubber band and a ball on it? Yeah.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
one
Oh,
of
yeah.
those or more than one.
Well, me and my brother both wanted one of them, and they lasted, probably about a day for that part of it. Then they lasted for about 3 years for my
On a good day.
her and them damn paddles that she'd keep tear my ass up. But I tell you what, we've never
The
ever,
paddle was
ever wanted another one of them things.
Yeah, I
They
bet
blow a
not.
couple of big holes in them, they hurt a lot worse.
Why do you think
Fly
she bought them
swatters.
for you?
Yeah. She's like, I got a use for this afterwards.
That's awesome.
Well,
I'm not
guys,
getting
we
one
can
for
take
I'm never
over.
getting
All right.
another one. Naomi.
Good night, Tom.
Good night, Tom.
Who's leaving, Tom?
Yeah,
Good night, man.
Tom, yeah.
Tom's gone.
One time, I don't know what I did, but it was a neighbor guy that lived down the road, and we were probably out front of the house doing something or whatever. But I was in the house and hear a knock on the door, and the neighbor came down and told my dad that I did something. And he called me and stuff. And so he goes, "You need to do something about this. Letting your son get away with this and all this." He kept going on. My dad said, "All right." He said, "Steve, come here." I went over there behind me, tore his belt off, grabbed me by the arm, and started spanking my ass with that belt. The neighbor guy went running down the driveway, going, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God," and took off and ran home. Next time I seen him, I said, "Thanks a lot, you little son of a bitch." But yeah, he wanted to make sure my dad was going to do something about whatever I did. Once he seen what my
Okay,
dad
let's
did.
talk about something besides dads whipping kids.
What's
Tell us
that?
about your Strega, Charles.
There you go.
Oh, turn your microphone on, Charles.
Looks like he got his motor mount in it.
Mm-hmm.
Or his crutch, or what do you want to call it.
There you go. What you got done so far tonight? Man, what you got there? Some Doritos? Those are loud. You got us, Charles?
Oh, we lost him. Oh, there he is.
He moved to a different corner of the screen.
Can't hear you. Charles, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
There it is. Yeah, we hear you now.
All right. Now you hear me. Yeah, so I
All right.
Yeah, I thought maybe that would be a good change of topic. You can tell us about what you've gotten done on your plane tonight, or whatever you want to tell us
All
about.
right. So I'm just getting prepared to make top and bottom blocks. So I got the engine in. I took it out to sand the cowl line nice and parallel to each other. And that's what I'm just working on it. It's coming along
That's
pretty
awesome.
good. I'm pretty happy with it. Still got to make the tank compartment, which is a combination of this inside here.
Now, who makes this kit? Who makes this
Brodak.
kit? Oh,
Brodak.
yeah, I got you.
Did you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm putting a K77 in it with a tune pipe. Yep.
Hey, was John on tonight?
What size tank?
Probably a 6-ounce tank.
Okay.
I got my friend Walter Hicks gave me a carbon fiber tank that Wendy made for him.
Awesome. You know, I have the molds for those tanks. Wendy gave me the
Really?
molds.
Wow.
I have them.
Nice.
I haven't tried them yet, but I have them. If you know anybody who really, really wants them, maybe we can work something out. I don't know, because I don't know if I'm going to use it or not.
Yeah, so I don't know if anybody else has seen the carbon fiber tanks that Wendy made.
Oh yeah, they were awesome.
This one has
I've
a
seen
leak
one.
on this.
Just make sure you don't put it.
For Walter Hicks.
Hey Charles,
What was that again?
just make sure you don't put any pressure on the tank except on the end caps. Nothing. Okay?
Yeah, I remember him saying that, and I didn't understand why.
Because it will fail. The tank will separate. It will fail.
Wow. Maybe I won't put it in there. Maybe I won't use it.
Well, it's okay to use it, but make sure your blocks when you glue it in only go up against the end caps, not against the middle of the tank anywhere.
Really?
So you don't put like a tank shim, a full length tank shim? You don't put that in?
Yeah, you could use a full length.
Yeah, you can still use a full length shim. It's just that the hold down anything that's holding the tank in position has to only touch the end caps or put pressure on the end caps.
Really?
Well,
Yeah. Otherwise, the tank
Okay.
will fail.
so I was planning on putting this in here. So what are you saying is put like a something on the side that this rests on and not on the tank? Is that what you're saying?
Right. Yeah. As long
Yeah.
as,
You got,
like, you couldn't have that top one short and it touched the front and went halfway back. It has to go full length.
Full length. Okay. All right.
that way, it only touches
saying I
the
got
end cap.
Okay. All right.
Because when it presses down to hold the tank in position, it should only touch the two end caps.
Wow. Okay. Well,
But you got to
yeah,
remember that tank was designed for a windy airplane. What has a slide-in tank. Randy Smith is open, and you hold it down different.
yeah. Well, I was
See,
trying to
what
build
Windy
this
is-
like
See, what Wendy did was slide the tank into the tank compartment and then just hold it
Right.
down at each end with a piece of 1/4-inch square balsa. That's it.
okay.
See what I mean? Just glue a piece of 1/4-inch square front and back to hold it down from side to side.
Okay. All right.
Dennis, what the hell are you eating?
I,
It's loud. It's whatever it is. Sounds like pork rinds.
I can't
turned him
take
down.
that anymore.
Yeah, I was,
Sound
I thought it might be interesting.
If you can hear it,
I
does
thought
that
it
mean
might
the
have been
microphone's
interesting.
working?
Yeah, I guess
He's
so.
a pretzel man.
So I'll take that as a good sign. My mic is working. I'll turn it off.
Oh, it's
That's
working
fine.
good. Don't worry about it.
So you guys want to see today's model building endeavor?
I
Yeah.
do.
What do you got?
Sure.
Rotate the camera a little bit. You see that?
Looks like foam wings.
Yeah. 16 of them.
Wow. Wow.
Holy
What
shit.
are they for? What are they
Those
for?
rugged stunt trainers.
Oh,
Those RSTs that I'm doing. Those stunt trainers.
Cool.
that's a lot of trainers.
Well, I'm doing up 3 for me to beat up, 2 to use as combat with bladders. 2 of them are going to Paul Jabot for his wife, and another one's going to a guy down in Lacombe, about halfway down the province. Doing some horse trading there.
Wow.
So those I got that's regrind foam, and it just cut beautifully. So no problem. It was just they were given to me that are kind of odd. They're tapered, 4x4, but tapered down. So I had to get pretty creative on cutting them out to get enough meat there to hot wire them with. So it'll be a bit tedious
Are
hot
they
wiring the way I'll have to.
Are they a tapered wing or a straight wing? Okay, so they're tapered. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Awesome.
So tomorrow I've got to make a short bowl instead of my 5-foot one, and have at her, I guess.
That's awesome.
Hello.
I heard you talking about. I heard you
So
talking
Gary,
about.
what you been doing for fun lately?
I don't know, just sitting around.
There's a lot of that going on all over the country.
I know. But I heard you talk about a log plane. I suppose it's one of them back. Because I had a
Hollow log, yeah.
Piper Cub there when I was learning to fly. And,
Luciano, yes.
and I'd go out in the schoolhouse there on the blacktop. And I just got the motor to running, so the plane was just barely going around, just enough to fly. So then I'd take it off and then land, and take it off and land. And that's where I learned to fly that way,
That's awesome.
Because
Cool.
later on,
Logs were good planes. They were tough as nails too. I flew over grass, but you could bury one up to the wings and pull it out of the ground and wash it off and put it back in the air.
Yeah.
Now there's a
little
cafe airplane. Everybody can see it.
That's a big half A.
There's a canopy for it.
Holy crap.
half A.
You almost get your head in that thing. Almost, Steve. Almost.
Oh, I was going to show you is the stuff. I don't know if anybody used it before I go get this glue. Works out really good.
Yeah, that's another way to learn how to fly. As long as it's calm and not windy, you can get it going really slow so it just barely flies.
Yeah.
It's all right.
See, after that, the Cox come out with all them plastic planes. But shoot, they go so fast. If you're a beginner, you wrecked it before you ever got a chance to even learn how to fly.
That's what happened to about 97% of them, I think.
Yeah.
Bob Zambelli started building a half A plane to fly at Brodax, and he has built lots of half A planes. But he called me and told me he wanted to ask me some questions and get some advice from me, and I'm like, okay, Bob. He came over Sunday, and he brought this beautiful little plane. It's full fuselage, and he always builds interesting noses onto his. He's machined a backplate onto the engine. It had an OS 049 on it, which he said he didn't think was ever sold on the market in the United States, just in Japan. But he put dye in his clear and paint yellow dye, and it came out a pretty yellow, so he's naming it Tweety Bird. But it's a gorgeous little plane. He builds nice ones, and he just wanted to talk about what size lines and also how to feed it fuel. But it was a nice visit. We sat under my maple tree, which is all leafed up now, and got a great sitting area in the backyard. And we chilled out for about 3 hours, just sitting and talking. I got to know Bob way better than I've ever known him before, and he and Holly and me sat out there and talked about all kinds of stuff besides airplanes. And I know Bob real well when it comes to talking about modeling, but never have really just chatted about, just regular old stuff. And it was a enjoyable visit. But he's got a nice FA plane. It's too bad he's not going to be able to fly it the way he planned on flying it at Brodak. But maybe he'll bring it up here. We can take it across the street to the church and fly it one day when he gets it. He didn't have the eyelets on the lead outs, and he didn't have the fuel tank mounted, but everything else is pretty much ready to go. And it weighs 6 ounces right now without the fuel tank.
Yeah, I saw it on the hangar today. It's really nice. Nice
Did he
looking
post
little
it?
model.
Oh,
Yes,
he posted
did.
it on Stunthangar?
Awesome.
Okay.
Yes, he did. Oh, it's
wrong.
awesome.
It's
Awesome
06.
little airplane.
And I was mistaken when I said 049. It's OS 06. 060.
Okay. That's awesome.
And I had never heard of that.
Very cute little airplane.
Yeah. And he's planning on putting a Tweety Bird emblem on it and calling it Tweety because it's the right color of yellow.
Yeah. It's on the wing and
I don't know
everything.
what
It looks
kind of
great.
die. He never told me what kind of die, but it's also a tricycle gear for landing in the grass. He seems to think that that'll make for good grass landing. So we'll remain to be seen about how that works.
That's cool.
I was going to show you. I don't know if anybody's ever tried this.
What does it say? Styro goo?
Styro goo.
Styro goo.
It's
Yeah,
by
styro goo.
hot wire, but it's kind of like shoe goo, but it's 100% clear, and you can put canopies on and stuff with it, and it works great.
Neat.
I even use this on built-up stuff. When I embed the canopy, put that on there,
Yeah.
put it in. And then when you look, if you got a clear canopy, you can't see it when you look through the canopy.
Can I see it again,
Neat.
Steve?
Huh?
Can I see it again?
I think
Okay.
shoe goo will eat up styrofoam.
My hobby store has
I
that.
think it's
Okay,
got
I'll check it out.
toluene in it, but styro goop, I'll keep my eye out for it.
They use it. I mean, they've been using it on everything. These guys for the race cars, like Mike Scott, they glue the tire to the rim so it doesn't spin the rim inside the tire. That tears them
Yeah,
up.
that's a good idea.
Then they use
my
it. They said it
hot-
works great for that. So I thought, well, if it'll hold one of them rubber tires on a rim for these cars, it damn sure hold the canopy on. And I was going to try some other stuff gluing it, see how it worked. But it's 100% clear to where that shoe goo, I don't know, it's got a little, you can see it after it's done. But I was even going to, if I get a pair of shoes that go bad, I was going to try to glue the sole back on. But I'm going to try it on the tanks because, they take a piece of wood and then they glue a tank to it and they move it up and down on these profiles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't get
Is it
rock
rubbery?
hard. There's a little bit of a movement to it, not much. It'll bend, but I mean,
It's a little rubbery. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to ask you.
but it's super strong. I mean, it'll take shock and it doesn't crack. But I just thought, I don't know, that whole damn bottle's only $3 and something, $3.49.
That's awesome.
My other bottle I had for a couple years, and I probably only not even used a quarter of it, but I went and left the top off. Next time I went to use it, I had a big cylinder of hard rubbery hardship. So
Yeah, I bet it was hard rubbery.
it's
A
not,
cylinder of
it's like
cylinder of rubber.
silicone, but it doesn't smell like silicone. But it gets harder than silicone does.
Now, shoe goo, traditional shoe goo smells like toluene, I think. Like airplane glue sort of, doesn't it, Mike? Because Mike said he was using it.
Smells like cement to me, and it smells
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm
Duco
talking
cement.
Yeah.
That's toluene.
Here, let
Let me get up.
me see, man. Yeah, smells like cement.
I got some Ambroid for you. You want to take a whip of the Ambroid?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Charles, what
Yeah,
are you?
I'm good, bro.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Get rid of that Android. Get rid of that Android. You're not old enough for that.
The last plane I built with Ambroid was my Stuntman 23, which I named Green Death.
Should have been Orange Death.
I'll tell you,
It's got an Android.
That Stuntman 23 was one damn tough and good plane. A pretty good
was a
flying
good
for a
airplane.
heavy. It
Oh,
didn't
the-
fly like a real plane, it didn't have any glide, but it was a great test bed in its later days. That's what I used when I was learning to make bladders and stuff, whether they were the bubbleless unpressured or the pressure bladders and all that stuff I learned on it. But it broke behind the wing so many times that there was no fuselage left. So I chopped it off and glued the fuselage 1 inch behind the main wing, and it turned into the most fun little hole puncher in the sky. And it would go anywhere you pointed. It would turn a loop the size of a beach ball, and that was a great plane until my nieces got a hold of it one day, and a couple of them flew it half of a lap, but neither one of them got all the way around with it. But they tried. I kept letting them try. I figured, what the hell, but it was so heavy after I put it back together when I got through with it that it wouldn't fly at all with a Cox engine on it. I had to put a 061 on it, and it kind of flew then, but it was shot.
One of our guys last summer had a jumping bean. Boy, was that ever a great flying little airplane. I'm shocked.
That's what I bought. That's what I bought when I decided I wanted to learn to fly loops, a little jumping bean.
Great little airplane. I was shocked how good it flew.
That was the first plane I ever built with a built-up wing, too.
Yeah,
I was going to say that
flying little plane.
With that Ambroid, you can lay down beautiful hinges if they're cloth. But that Ambroid doesn't work for the shit on that polyester hinges that you can get from.
It probably doesn't stick good for them, does it?
No, I had more problems. I still got one that the damn shit will lift. But if you're going to use the polyester hinges, like Tom Morris sells that fabric you can cut, you need to use a Sigma. For some reason, Sigma will stick that down and you don't have a problem. But damn Ambroid won't work worth the crap for the polyester. But it works great on the cloth hinges.
Steve?
Yes, because it doesn't
Tom
soak into the
Morris's stuff?
polyester fibers.
Yeah.
It's not polyester, it's Dacron.
Oh, Dacron, is that what it is?
It's not polyester, it's Dacron. It's ultralight covering material, like that they actually cover ultralights with. That's what it is. I got a whole bunch of it, and I just use nitrate dope to stick it down with.
Oh, okay.
I put it down with nitrate, and it lays just fine. It lays just fine. That's what I put on the Galaxy, actually.
Yeah, Sigma does the same thing.
Sigma or Duco would probably do the job, but I think that's messier than using nitrate dope, because you can thin the nitrate and get it. You just get it to lay down, and it covers up real nice. So you don't have to, with Sigma or Duco or even Ambroid, a lot of sanding going on afterwards, I think.
Well, all Sigma is,
because it's all rough from.
Sigma might just be real thick nitrate dope. It's some kind of dope. And that's why it won't react with your paint jobs and stuff. But yeah, I started doing Sigma instead of doing.
Cool.
Yeah.
That
looks good, Mike.
That's Tom Morris, Dacron, and then I just put some thin silk span over the top of both of these sheeted, just to get it to feather in. But I think once that's painted, once that's got color on it, you might see a little bit of the hinge, but you're not going to see a lot of it. It's going to blend in nice.
Besides, it looked like you did a really neat job, too. That always makes a big difference, even if you can see it.
Well, I cut 5 times and measured once, so.
There you go.
But nobody got that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we got it.
We got it. That's your one bad joke.
Okay, all right, good.
That's your one bad joke.
That's my one bad joke. Okay, good. Good. You got it at least.
When did they stop making testers?
Dope.
Making what?
Tester cement.
Soon enough.
That's what I used on.
Not
Yeah, that was.
soon enough. Not soon enough.
Well, that's why I started.
Hey, that's
using,
too much. You're cheating.
What?
Told Mike that's 2 jokes. 1 too many. Used
One
up
too
his
many,
quota. Not soon enough.
Yeah, I don't know when testers went out, but yeah, we used to use that too. But that was some kind of a dope-based glue.
You still get testers.
Can you get
Boy,
the
did it ever
They
dry
make
fast.
several different types.
Sure dried fast.
Yeah, I didn't
Well,
know
you can
could
still
get
buy
that.
the Testers orange and the Testers green at Hobby Lobby.
Okay,
You can still
wow.
buy it in the plastic model section. Yeah,
That's wild.
they sell it at Hobby Lobby still.
It's
The
pretty
old
amazing.
gel stuff. I wasn't a big fan of
Yeah.
that. I was always more. I was more inclined to use this, the Plastawell
Yeah,
testers.
you got to be careful.
That's
with
the good
that.
stuff. Got a brush right on the cap. It's
Yep.
the liquid, and you know what? It's made. You know who it's made by now? Rust-Oleum.
Oh no, shit.
Wow.
Made by
Good,
Rust-Oleum, but with the tester's label. And I buy this now. This is what Sam and I glue our Legos together with. When he gets a big Lego set, like one of these $200 Star Wars,
Okay.
1,500 piece Millenniums, we glue the whole damn thing together with this. We brush every piece and put it together and glue it. Because, it's a $200 Lego. They drop it one time and it goes, and you're never going to put it back again. You got a chance that it breaks up in big chunks, not 100 pieces, but maybe 10 bigger pieces. So we glue our Legos with this. It's great. But yeah, Testers still in business, owned by Rust-Oleum.
Okay.
Well, that was
You
like
guys remember test?
do it.
You guys remember
Go ahead, Len.
Testers dope in the square jars?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yep. Oh yeah.
they were so
I
tiny.
painted many.
They never made a big, just so small.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Well, you-
remember using those jars many years.
You could get it. You could get it in bigger quantities.
I never
Could
saw
you?
it.
Yeah, you could. I've seen bigger quantities of. A buddy of mine had I guess back. I don't know if it was in
Well-
the '60s or the '70s. Testers gave out plaque
That's right.
awards, and he had 3 or 4 of them for winning some finishing awards with testers.
Wow. Huh.
I used to buy my
That's
dope
cool.
by the quarter, I think. Went up to our regional airport. And they used to dope the big planes there, Piper
Yeah.
Cubs. But can't get it there now. They do it
Yeah.
someplace else.
By the
Yeah, we have to order from two.
quart. Boy, you were rich, man.
And we always back, in the 70s.
I remember dope being like, for me as a kid, I remember dope being like the most expensive thing I had to buy to finish a model. So we always slacked on it, the bare minimum to fuel proof it.
One color.
One color, yeah, one color.
No, the best part is you
Yeah,
took
one color airplane.
all the leftover colors, you mix those all together to make one jar of something.
Something else.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
one color that was brushed on.
Yeah, we brushed it.
clear.
And usually
We
when you
always
mixed
get
it all together, you got brown.
Yeah, that's
Works.
about it.
Oh, I remember the brown dope.
You know, a buddy of mine, he could brush dope on and it would look like it was spray painted on. How in the hell you could brush dope out and not get no streaks and
Or get a hair on it.
Brush
The
thing
brush.
is pretty good.
Everybody use this stuff, I imagine.
aero dope? Yeah, aero
Oh,
gloss.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Aero
Yeah.
gloss.
actually, that's
Bottles
what
of
I
it.
have used with a brush on the Magnum. I painted its nose black with Aerogloss, and yeah, you couldn't see any brush marks. I thinned it down pretty good for the last coat, and it kind of melted and smoothed everything out. That was some mean solvent in that.
Yeah, I still got a bunch of cans of color, but you can't get the thinner anymore.
Yeah, it was made with MEK. You probably can thin it. Damn, my camera's still up. You can probably thin it with MEK. That stuff will
I got
kill
a
you.
question for you guys. Has anybody ever used Brodak Jet Black Dope?
I just bought a
I
can.
find there's
I haven't opened it yet.
okay. My problem
I
is
think I
this.
have.
I find it never. Is it supposed to be shiny?
It is.
Yeah, they
Or
sell
flat?
two different types. They sell one that's not, but I don't know if the other one's called jet black though. But mine specifically said glossy, but I hadn't tried it. Like I said, it might not be
So it
that.
says gloss. So it says gloss black.
I'll have to check to be sure, but I'm pretty sure I remember that when I was ordering it.
Okay, because the one I've got is as flat can be, and I can't understand why. But maybe that's what it is. And it's Brodak Jet Black.
Yeah.
I got the part number somewhere around here. Do you have your part number for the
I can get it. Hang on a
the
second.
Brodak number?
Yeah, I just checked. I thought I had some, but what I got is Sig Jet Black, which is really shiny.
Yeah, the stuff I got is flat. I can show you on an airplane here where it's cleared and where it's not cleared. But when Lynn gets back, I'll show.
I don't know what you guys saw on YouTube. I saw a guy that had a control line and he hooked it to a tether pole in his backyard. He must have had a radio controller or something to give the elevator up and down. And he's flying it there and was going around and around. He'd loop it because he can't go to any place to fly it. So it's kind
You
of
saw
neat.
that guy doing that, flying with that little electric one, doing a pattern.
I didn't see him doing the one I seen. He was just going around in circles up. You know.
Just going around. Yeah, I think he did a loop. What I saw, but that's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gary, I have
saw
a
a
round
video-
the pole flyer called. Oh God, I don't know what they called them. They were out like 8 years ago or something. But it's a round the pole electric Spitfire with the radio control transmitter for throttle and elevator.
Okay.
And they made Mustangs and Spitfires and other kind of stuff. And I bought one for Sam. And you can fly it on up to 12-foot lines. I have it right here. I'll show it to you.
Yeah, I don't know if this will come out. Can you see the difference in the gloss on that?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's that black. And what it is Chris Rudd accidentally poked a hole through the top of Samantha's airplane 2 days before we left for the World Championships. So I patched it and sprayed some black on it without clearing it. But once you put clear over it, that'll be shinier and shit. It's jet black. It's shiny.
Okay.
You just got to get a little clear on it, Lem.
Okay, because that's what I've got, and it's BP 1080.
Yeah. Yeah, it's jet black. It covers really good.
Okay, but just when I clear it, it'll come up shiny. That's all
Yeah.
that matters.
Yeah, it will.
Okay. No problem. No problem. Okay.
Yeah.
So Gary,
Because I want to use.
My Windows
Oh, I'm-
not good.
go ahead, Len. Finish talking about your dope, and then I'll go when you're finished.
Okay. All right. No, I was just going to say I'm planning to use that on my Cardinal on the fuselage. So I just want to make sure I'm going to be okay. That's all. So that
Yeah,
should
you'll
be
be
fine.
fine.
Okay. Go ahead, Mike.
Gary, this is these came out about, oh God, Sam was I guess 6-7 years ago. It's called Flyline RC. You used to, and but it's round the pole. It's actually, there's a wire, there's a line that connects to about a 4-foot pole, right? And then there's a hook that goes on the end of it that goes around the pole. And they had Spitfires and Mustangs, and it's got a little electric battery that gets it's electric motor with a battery that plugs in the bottom, and then this is your transmitter, and it's throttle
Yeah.
and up and down, and you take off, and it flies around the pole. Little foamy. It was actually really good. We still have it. We haven't broken it. We haven't crashed it. It's about doing over on the longest line setting. Problem is, all our batteries for the planes crapped out, and I cannot find replacements for them. I can't find a replacement battery that has the plug that this fits. The plug that goes into the receptacle. I'm sure with a little bit of hacking or whatever, I could figure something out. But I'd really like to just get replacement batteries for it that would just be plug and play.
Have you tried?
But man, we had a ball with this thing. It was a lot of fun.
Have you tried Hobby
It was
King?
fun. I think there's actually, I made a YouTube video of us flying it. Go ahead.
Have you tried Hobby King for the batteries?
Yeah, Hobby King doesn't have. It's like a one of really weird connector. And here's the kicker: the battery is just like this. It's a little stick battery, for my heli. It's this little stick battery for my helicopters and drones and stuff. The problem is this. It's that connector right there to fit into this Flyline airplane. The batteries are identical, same milliamp, same size. They're the same length and width. They would go right in. It's the plug. That's the issue. Was the Flyline company that made that little round pole plane had a one of connector, so that's the holdup. That's the, like I said, with some science, or a smarter guy than me would figure out a way to take the old connector and put it into one of these batteries, but it's not
Can you
worth my
see the
time.
wire that comes out of the
So,
airplane?
I'll just-
Mike, can you see the wires that come out of?
I mean, yeah, it's actually more like two metal tabs is what it is. So not even the connector that actually, with tongues that goes in, it's like two tabs, and then they would slide up and touch.
Yeah, see, what I was thinking of, what you could do is if you could get a set of the wires that hook into that battery that you do use all the time, then just wire it to the airplane, you'd be good to go. And then just hook the battery into it like a normal connector.
Yeah. Yeah, that would probably work, using the old connector from the two batteries I had and rigging something up. I just haven't looked at it hard enough. This is kind of a forgotten toy from several years ago, and I didn't think about it till Gary was talking about the round the pole guy. It's just been sitting on the shelf. But yeah, we did have a lot of fun with it till the batteries finally crapped out on us.
Yeah.
So And they were real popular for about 2 years, man. They were like the hot toy at Christmas, man. Flyline RC. They even had a YouTube video. You can still look up the YouTube video for Flyline RC because you can put two on the pole at one time and like race each other.
Oh, that's neat.
Wow.
Two at a time. Which, you know, they show two
I never
kids
seen
doing
that.
it. Kids would have wrecked them in 5 seconds. You know, two kids would have ran into each other in 5 seconds and broke them both. But I could see two skilled adults doing it and having fun with it.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I was wondering now if you had the radio, your radio hooked to your throttle on the big ones. At least if you're going around, you started getting dizzy, you could just cut the throttle back and go ahead and land it. And then
That's how Will Davis teaches people to fly. The kids, he stands outside or inside circle with them and has that. It's a car RC, and he just works the throttle as they fly it. He keeps his 4-year-old grandson in the air by raising and lowering the throttle and just telling Wesley, his grandson, to hold the handle steady, and Will makes it go up and down. Or he started it first. I think Wesley can actually control it some now. But he's 4 years old, so that's a good way to learn to fly or teach somebody to fly.
Well, I thought about the older ones that might get dizzy quick or something. Yeah.
That's true.
You know, if you didn't have nobody out there with you, I guess.
Dennis.
Yeah.
Dennis.
I know.
That
I'd
is snack.
fall
He's
down if I
finished.
tried to fly one right now. I guarantee it.
Well,
You hungry, Dennis?
I think Dennis has done his snack. He's finished. I can tell. I heard him crunch up the bag. It's over.
My pretzels
I'll
crunch
turn
anymore.
Dennis's volume up now.
Well, you been bashing the hell out of them cars, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you see me working on bodies? We got 4 new bodies today.
Oh.
So I'm putting down is what I'm doing. We got the American flag body. We got the cow body. We got the Camaro body and the Tiger body. Because we did buy another car too. So we bought 2 Slash Ultimate 4x4s. And I bought one more. Because we're really getting into this car thing now, I think. It looks that way anyway. I guess we are because I'm buying more car stuff. So
I see you guys,
we're having fun.
you made jumps and stuff. You were jumping them, and
Yeah, we got some ramps here we built at the house, and then our friends that got into this, they all have tracks in their backyard for their kids. So we're doing that. And then one of the RC clubs we belong to, where we shot all that video from flying yesterday, there's a really nice RC car track in the park there. It doesn't have anything to do with the airplane club, but it's a RC car club. They were really sweet. Groom track, jumps, berms, high bank turns. I mean, it's like a professional track. So we kind of get a twofer. If we go out and fly airplane stuff, we can take the cars and then go bash the cars for an hour when we're done flying planes. And Sam's enjoying the car thing. So I spent a little money and got a few upgrades and a little better things for us. And, you know, we've been breaking stuff. We've been breaking things. That's how they get you, man. They just suck you right in. You get the car, you know, and then you find out, oh, you got to have the upgraded shocks. You got to have the better wheels. You got to have this. Because you start breaking that stuff, right? You break the OE4, right? And they go, oh, yeah, you can't use the stock shocks. You got to buy the aluminum upgrade from blah, blah, blah. And, you know, then you're spending more money to make the car better and not break as much. it's like airplane shit, man. It really is. Pardon my friend.
Yeah,
It really
don't
is.
get,
You know, you called McCoy Redhead, man. You got to have a PA, right? It's the same stuff in the car world. It's the same stuff. We started out with Fox 35 car stuff, and now I'm trying to get PA stuff for RC cars. So,
Well, we got one.
but it's
club
fun.
here.
We have a good time working on them, and
We got one club here that it's a guy's farm. He quit farming, and so we have RC in one part of it. Then he decided for the free flight guys, he went and mowed, I don't know, 100 acres off to the side so they can fly free flight there. Then his son got into cars, so he has a damn bulldozer and shit, I don't know, skid loaders and stuff from when he had the farm. He built the RC track, and then we had the Tour de Michigan here, so he put us in 2 control line circles so you can fly control line there. And then if you're a member of the club, he's got 20 acres down on a lake, and he made it so you can park RVs in there and camp and fish and all that, and then go up and go flying on the other side of the property. It's a hell of a club.
I guess.
I'll bet.
But yeah, all the guys there, they bring their campers in, and the wives stay down and fish with the kids and swim and all that kind of stuff, and then they go flying. And you can fly if you got.
well, I got one.
And you can fly off the lake if you want to.
I got one thing to say. If Sam says, "Dad," I'm gonna slap him in it because we ain't going down that rabbit hole either.
What's that? You
What's
broke
that?
up.
Yeah.
I said, if Sam says, "Daddy, I want to try RC boats," I'm gonna smack him in the head.
I just gonna say, if anybody ever built a RC boat, I got a 1/8 hydro at the Atlas Van Lines I built.
Oh, yeah.
control.
I love RC boats. I mean, back in the day,
My flying
with the
buddy
old-
Wayne Robinson built sloops and serious RC boats. I mean, these are big, and puts them in Lake Murray. But I don't know the sizes on it, but they're really sophisticated boats.
well, we had a.
The only
Harry,
thing I
what are you
never
running in
wanted.
your app?
What'd
I
you
used
say?
to go to
The
what
only
was that,
thing.
Indiana. There, we'd drive over to Indiana and watch them race. They always had boat races there on little lakes that they had there. We'd
Well,
drive over.
We got Riverside Park in Grand Rapids, and it's off of the VA hospital, sits up on the hill in this huge park. And they have a big pond in there. I call it a lake. This thing's a huge pond. But they run boats there for years, had big races. People come in from all over the United States and stuff. And because of the noise, they won't let nobody run the boats in there anymore. But
People
that
sure
was,
are noise sensitive these days.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
once they got going with Picos and OPSs, 65s with pipes, them things were allowed. I mean, like that Van Line one, 8 scale. Holy shit, but go. I mean, it was so much fun. I had a blast watching them.
Yeah.
But yeah, the noise did them in. And then they tried to go to electric, and they won't even allow electric boats in it anymore. But the guys had a rowboat there and everything to go out and get your boat out of what they call it a pond. I call it a lake, but you could paddle out and get your stuff. And they had a big treble hook, because them big old hydroplanes, they get going along and hit a wave, and the nose would go under, and then things would go and stick themselves into the mud at the bottom of that lake. Then they go
Holy
up to that
crap.
boat and a double and hook their boat and bring it back up to get the motor and stuff out of it. But I seen a lot of them head to the bottom of that lake and not pop back up. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I draw the line at RC submarines. I'm not doing that. There's
That
no
saves you
way.
the whole
Anybody
problem of
says they're
making it float.
RC submarines, like, just go away. Stand up. Guy
Well,
standing at the lake. He's got his radio in his hand. And I'm running my RC. Get, get,
it was so big here, though. My brother worked at Ryder's Hobby Shop, and they were the #1 selling hobby shop for OPS boat motors and for all the other stuff. They had big awards on the wall because they sold so much of that stuff here in Grand Rapids. But that was as big as any of the big RC plane clubs.
Wow.
But I always wanted one of the K&B outboards. Never got one.
Yeah.
Those boats Wayne builds up, I don't know if I said sloops, but they're sailboats. And that's just more of a relaxing whish hobby rather than a roaring, screaming rooster tail of water hobby.
Yeah.
Well, they had people that did that there too. And I forget what day it was for sailboats. I think it was Sunday. But can't believe the craftsmanship that went into them sailboats. Oh my God. It was really something.
Yeah, I could match it with stuff.
They're all made of wood, and I don't know if it's birch or not birch, cherry, and I don't know what they make regular boats, big boats out of.
Probably teak and mahogany, some of the wood that they probably use.
Them things were absolutely beautiful. And the way they control them to make the sail go over, and they could tack it in and do stuff with the remote control. I mean, they can really.
It's not an easy skill to learn.
No, I mean, them things really sail nice. But
then you don't have to build them light.
Yeah,
in fact, it's better if you
I
don't.
was thinking that as I said, teak and mahogany, but that just might be for decking and light stuff like that rather than the hull. I don't know what they would build a hull out of. Something that'll soak up water and seal.
Yeah,
I know my dad would build a sailboat, and then or he would refinish one. Then he would take it out to Lake Murray and sink it before it was finished, and then it would swell up. He'd pump it out and raise it, and it was watertight then, but it wasn't watertight enough to be trustworthy before he sank it for a while. And I don't remember how long. It's when I was a little kid.
Yeah, when I was a kid, we went to this lake in camp, and the guy that owned it rented boats, and I'd help him sink his boats every spring, and then go bail them out after they sat there a week underwater.
A week, really? Yeah.
He'd give us some worms and shit for helping them. But yeah, he always. Then once we had them afloat and bailed out, then they held, they didn't hold water. They repelled water after that.
Well, a few years ago, I milled up.
Just wish that you guys would tell us.
Wait, two people are talking.
Go ahead, Robert.
Rob.
Go ahead.
But a few years ago, a friend of mine was into the boats, and he was using apple wood because it kind of looks like oak and has similar properties. But what a son of a bitch to mill. Man, it took out my knives.
Really?
Well, he replaced them, but the blowouts that I get and the shrapnel going through my dust collector was just nuts off that crap. But apparently, applewood is what they.
This is dried wood, not green wood, right?
Yeah. So there was probably at least 30% waste on it, just processing it. but I guess that's what they like because it's
Wow.
for the ships. It looks like the old, the original wood oak that the ironclads and whatnot were built out of. Or not the ironclads, but the old sailing ships.
Right.
Well, when I was a kid, right by my house, there was a place that sold wood, but Grand Rapids was always known as Furniture City. But they'd get pieces in there of any kind of, and they'd order you wood or whatever, and you could go in there and furniture makers, hobbyists and stuff like that. That's where all the guys who did all their sailboats went and got their wood and then would mill it and all that kind of stuff and make their boats and everything out of it. But yeah, I don't know, probably 20 years ago now they went out of business, but yeah, it was really neat. All the different kinds of wood you could get in there to stock makers for guns and shit. You could get it and they get you burl
we have
wood and everything.
Yeah, Shannon Hardwoods, Edmonton supplies the whole world pretty much. The guy that owns it, just absolute encyclopedia on woods. And you go into his shop and it's just the warehouse. It's just absolutely freaking amazing. And he's got warehouses all over the world that he deals in the legal woods, just virtually anything you can imagine. And like you say, the guys come in there and get the specialty woods. The ice boat racers that do the sailboat ice racing. I guess they're real nuts about their wood selection. They pick the sickest spruce beyond aircraft spec. And this guy carries all of that. Prices are pretty good too. So it's having something like that, literally next door practically to deal with. And that's where I've been getting balsa blocks from too. I can get can't get sheet stuff, but I've been getting 4 or 5 pound balsa blocks that are just beautiful for a fraction of the cost that you pay at a hobby shop for the.
No check. Yeah, I worked for Tubergen Saw when I was young. That's what I did, put myself through school. And I sharpened saw blades. I mean, I sharpened saw blades that are taller than me. I know I'm short, but there were 6 foot saw blades and stuff that I'd have to sharpen, and bandsaw blades by the hundreds a week just for cutting wood here in Grand Rapids when I was a kid. But that's by learning how to do bandsaw blades. That's how I got my job in Switzerland when I went and lived over there and worked in Switzerland, was making bandsaw blades in Switzerland. But
Wow.
I had one around here. I brought a piece back, but the smallest bandsaw blade that we made in Switzerland was 8 inches.
Oh boy, that's a big blade.
I mean, some of them blades were maybe 16, 17 inches and had like a 3-inch tooth on them. Because everything
Holy crap.
Yeah, they don't cut their wood with the
what kind of cut that would take off of you.
to put one in a sharpening machine, there'd be 8 of us to pick the damn blade up to get it in the sharpening machine. We'd sharpen it, and then I don't know. You guys ever see how you take a bandsaw blade and twist it and flip it so it comes in a little roll?
Yep, do it regularly.
This thing would be 60 foot long, and 8 of us would turn that and keep flipping it until we got it small enough to get into a truck to take it to the mill.
Wow.
Yeah. I got to see.
That's
I got to
scary.
go to a mill one time, and it was like a big tower that was about 3 stories tall. And that bandsaw blade went in there. It was really thin.
Huh.
So they didn't, because they did all hardwood and they didn't want to lose any of the wood. So it was just a super thin blade that was real big, and talk about something that could cut wood. Oh my God. because I've been in sawmills here, and the wood goes, goes through and all. This thing was going, so it was like zing, 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 going through that big bandsaw blade.
Wow. Well, guys, I got to hit the hay.
All right.
Tomorrow's a
Just
work
been about
day.
that.
Yeah, I'm
Eddie
thinking I want to
Suter
bail
just came in.
too.
I've had visitors on
Have a
YouTube
great
that I
night,
didn't
guys.
notice. Good
Take it
night.
easy.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
All right, everybody have a good week, and we'll see you back on Friday. And you YouTubers, sorry, man, I had it going in and out tonight, so I didn't see everybody when they first came in. Eddie Suter just came in. Hey, Eddie, sorry. Time to go though, and everybody take care. And we'll see y'all on Friday night.
Hey,
Same
Charles.
bat time, same bat channel. Okay. Toodaloo.
Yep.
Right.
Fair winds, tight lines.
Good night, guys.
Hey, Charles,
everybody.
you can't leave your garage for another 3 hours.
And I'm trying to get this thing done.
That's why I said you can't leave, even because we're getting off here, and we know that then you'll go inside. So you got to promise us 3 hours. I'm holding up 4 fingers. 3 hours.
3 more. Maybe an hour and a half.
Nah.